Who helped Liz?
I built this whole empire by myself. Nobody's coming to save you. That's what I used to always say.
You had bulimia, anorexia, severe depression.
Yeah. Now I had to deal with 19 years of abuse.
When did it all change?
When I was 4 months pregnant, I got cheated on. Loyalty is more important than love. I'm gonna stop being a victim.
The more I'm listening to you, the more I know how real it was.
You don't need to forgive everyone. And I don't believe everyone deserves your forgiveness either.
When I say your childhood, what is the first emotion that comes to mind?
My oldest brother, he was disabled because of the war.
You don't forgive him.
We used to pray that his plane would crash. If he was to die, then we were finally relieved of our suffering.
And I'm sorry that I'm reminding you of these things, but I'm trying to paint a picture of Liz to the people also.
Yeah.
So I knew this was going to be... The funny thing is we believe in timing, and we were supposed to meet for the first time last year, but for timing reasons of our life or fate, didn't happen, and we finally meet today. And I was doing the research, and I was mind blown by what Liz has gone through in her life, and I knew I could not compromise questions. Like, I can't remove. I wanted to keep all of the questions in my head, so I had a lot. And I wanted you to go with me through a journey to get to know Liz. So I hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Okay.
5 stars.
That's 5? That's 10. Okay. I'll take 10. So if you know Liz from before, I really hope, because she said she doesn't do a lot of long form. I hope you get to know her from different angles and her perspective on a lot of things. And if you don't know her, get to know her. I think you're going to get to know 3 hours of proper insight. And if you like her, support her love for women, for being a mother, and when she opens her brand. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Thank you. And also support him.
Thank you. Enjoy. Okay, let's go. Okay. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
We finally meet.
Yes.
Yeah, we never met in person. Funny.
No.
Okay, so we start with how are you really doing?
I'm doing good. Given the circumstances, I think I'm doing pretty good.
Are you covering, or are you actually good inside?
I don't know. I feel like I'm like so numb at this point in my life where I just don't know anymore how I'm really feeling. I just I think so many things have happened in my life where I just had to survive and not really live. So like now, again, I have a situation happening in my life that is so heartbreaking that I'm like, okay, it's survival mode again. And once I'm in survival mode, I just don't feel, I just keep going because I have no other choice.
Yeah, I guess it's in your wiring. And today, for the audience, I'm just telling you from now, enjoy the ride, because we have a whole journey to go through your 27 years, which is a very interesting and filled experience. So I wanted to go through it. I really looked at the research and I didn't go too deep because I want to listen to you. But yeah, everybody knows you as the wizard, Liz. But who is Liz when no one's around?
I think I'm a very positive person and I'm very funny. I mean, that's how my friends would describe me. And my friends, that's my sister, because I don't really hang out with anyone else. So I think my sister would describe me as someone funny, lighthearted. I'm also very I feel like a strong person, and definitely a workaholic. I love working. Yeah. And I feel like I'm also like, I'm always there for people. Yeah. Yeah.
You said you don't have friends.
I don't really have friends, no. Growing up, like, I wasn't allowed to have friends. And like, I was in school, I had friends, but I wasn't allowed to hang out with them outside because my father was super controlling, like super religious. And basically, me, my sister, we couldn't leave our house unless it was school or work. So I never was allowed to develop friendships outside of the house. But I was very lucky that I had a sister, which is literally my best friend. And yeah, that was really good. But other than that, all of my friendships just turned into online. Like, I never really hang out with people other than my sister. Yeah.
So it's just something you got used to, that even when you moved out and had your own life, you still don't know how to make friends, or you don't want to make new friends?
I think right now I'm in a point of, like, even with my career and everything, that I've been very betrayed, even with people that I used to be my friends. And I've been backstabbed a lot, that I'm very cautious now who I allow around me. And like, even recently I found something out about like a guy that I used to be friends with, and I'm like, I don't understand how some people do what they do or why they would do it. But you know how they always say, like, once you make it or once you become successful, your day ones, you should never forget them, or all these things. But I really feel like once you change or once you reach a certain level of success, a lot of people reveal who they really are. And that for me has been the most heartbreaking process, because I now understand why people say, like, the more successful you get, the more lonelier you get. Like, I get it, and I hate that.
They say people tell you you've changed when you stop being the way they want you to be.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's very true.
Yeah. But you know what? How I look at it, Liz, when I go through similar things, I'm like, thank God you showed me. Because I'd rather know than be that stupid idiot that everybody knows except me.
Yeah.
I hate that idea.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, oh, he's taking advantage, or they're lying
Yeah,
to me, or
yeah.
they're cheating, or whatever. And you're just like that
Yeah,
naive.
yeah.
I don't want to be the naive
Yeah,
guy. I want to
yeah.
know at least. It
Yeah.
will hurt, but I know.
Yeah.
And then I know where to put you, either out or in another box.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I prefer that. So
Yeah,
when they
I
reveal,
agree.
it hurts, but it's better.
Yeah, very true. But it's a hard lesson to learn, I feel like. Yeah.
You've never had like one best friend other than your sister?
I had, like, in school.
Okay.
There was this girl, this Moroccan girl. I'm still friends with her. We always text. Her name is Nasira. And she never had friends either. And then I was like, well, let's be friends, you know? And yeah, she's a really nice girl. I appreciate her a lot.
Okay. What made your heart smile today?
I FaceTimed my baby.
Okay.
Yeah, I was very happy.
Okay, I'm happy that you're happy.
Oh, thank you.
Good. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
And important for your heart.
Yeah. Like, for 2 weeks, I had like no contact with my ex who has my child. And I didn't know anything about my child. So I was really suffering, because my sister is like, she's trying to make me be strong. And she's like, just like, you know, he'll come around, like, he'll give you your child or whatever, it will happen. Like, just stay strong, stay strong. And then like 2 weeks go by and nothing happens, you know? And then I feel like, especially because I'm a mother, I can't. So like, I reached out and we came to some sort of agreement that I at least can like FaceTime my child. That made me very happy. But I just don't understand the level of evil you have to be to take a child from their mother. If the mother is like genuinely like wants to be in a child's life and wants to be there, especially because it's an infant, you know, they need their mother, especially for the brain development and all these things. So yeah, I really, this year, I just learned that people are very evil. And I feel like growing up, I don't know why, because my dad was very sadistic and he was very evil, but somehow I was very naive about people. And maybe it's because I was always isolated, because I wasn't allowed to hang around other people, really. I wasn't allowed to date. So I didn't really know the extent of people. So I just assumed everyone has good in them, and I was really like walking around la la, like just delusional, you know. And I think this just like, especially meeting my ex and like going through all of that and that betrayal, I realized like, wow, like there is actual real danger in this world, and people will portray themselves as someone that they're completely not. And they just don't care that if it hurts you, or they don't feel empathy that it hurts you. So then I was like, damn, I really need to watch out. But that also made me like more wise, because now I'm like, okay, so now I know at least, you know. So I think there was a blessing in that it really woke me up.
Yeah, the idea of good and evil is a tricky one, Liz, because I think there's a lot of good, but I think the evil sometimes trumps the good. Like one evil, it's like comments. If you get 49 good comments and one really bad one, your brain focuses on the bad. And the sad thing is, let's take a building. It takes you 2 years to build a building, right?
Yeah.
It takes you one moment to blow it up.
Yeah.
So the evil is very strong and quick.
Yeah.
And it can destroy so much.
Yeah.
Like to build, as friends, I can build me and you our trust for the next 2 years. And then I do one thing and you're like, fuck him.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe he did that.
Yeah.
He said that behind my back, or he did this. So it breaks.
Yeah.
And that's why I think sad. I feel sad about the evil. And I don't know if sometimes people are born with it. Maybe not. Maybe it's the childhood.
I think it can be like nurture, you know. That's why I'm like, even if I say like, for example, my ex is evil, I think it's more so he's also acting from a traumatized standpoint and what he knows from his childhood. Because I really believe like you attract people on the same traumas that you have, for example, you know. No matter how much you try to heal them or whatever, like your nervous system will be comfortable with someone that has either been through the same things or is on that same vibration. So if you look at my ex, for example, when he was abandoned really like a child, like what he's doing now is what his parents did with him. Like, just like, I'm going to take the child and whatever, all these things, you know. And in a way, I was also abandoned, but it was like my parents did stay together, even though they were abusive. Like my dad was abusing my mom, they stayed together. So for me, I grew up like not getting the love and nurture that I needed from my parents, but they stayed together. So there's a sense of loyalty that I know, which isn't even good, because oftentimes people that see their parents argue or stay in abusive situations, they go into relationships and then they think like, okay, so I should also stay because my parents stay together. And that's what they see as like, this is love. You stay together no matter what. And then, for example, what he's doing is like his parents were like dating other people and like throwing the child around, like using it as a prop. And now he's doing the same thing. And he doesn't really know that, like any loyalty really, because he didn't see that with his parents. And so it's like, is this person really evil, or are they acting from their childhood?
Because and it can still be evil, even if they're acting out of their childhood.
Yeah, I mean, what he's doing is bad, but I always look at why are you doing that, you know? It doesn't mean that I have to accept it. It doesn't mean I have to justify your actions.
Correct.
But I always try to understand, like, where is this coming from, you know?
If you understand, Liz, it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
That's why we want to understand.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why ghosting sucks.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand.
Yeah, you go crazy.
But if you understand, even if they're like, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Even if it hurts, you understand.
And you can like close it off.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I have.
Yeah. They say when people say that they're looking for happiness in a relationship, they're not really seeking happiness, they're seeking familiarity.
Yeah.
And that's where you attract what your nervous system is used to.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Abandonment, you know? Unless you catch it and maybe work on it. I don't know. When I say your childhood, what is the first emotion that comes to mind?
I just feel betrayed. I feel like my childhood was taken from me. I feel like I never had one. That's what I feel like when I think of my childhood.
And we're going to go more into it, but I'll tell you a few things that I read. Is it true That your mom tried to escape on her wedding night?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. My mom was forced to marry my dad, which is crazy because like she really didn't want to marry him. She didn't want to marry anyone. And my mom was like, she's still a very beautiful woman, but like everyone knew her as a super beautiful woman, like in the city. And she was always like very high class. Like she didn't want to marry anyone. Like, and then my dad was from a poor village, not attractive. No one wanted him. And he was already married one time before. And my mom used to always say, I will never marry someone that had kids before or that was married before. And she used to always say that. And then my dad came around and everyone literally like said he did black magic on her. No way like that he got her, you know? This is how much people couldn't believe it. And even on her wedding night, like there were other people that were trying to marry her. She was trying to escape to go that way, but like my aunt caught her and she was forced to marry my dad. And yeah, the misery began. Once she married him, he turned immediately abusive. And it was crazy because he was stalking her, obsessing over her, like he wouldn't leave her alone until he married her. And then it was like
Switch.
25 years of hell. Yeah.
How would you describe your childhood other than the betrayal feeling? Like if you had to draw it for me.
It's such a blur because I have so much trauma that a lot of things I do not remember. I remember flashes, like visions almost. And they're not good. I didn't have a childhood. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know. Like, I do know that I was like a happy kid still, or tried to be happy. But it's not like that I was like given the love that I wanted.
Not from mom too?
My mom was very like, I feel like I was a mother to my mother. So I feel like I was her parent, taking care of her and protecting her. You know, it's actually crazy. I do like hypnotherapy and all these things for my PTSD. And I was recently in a session with my therapist and I wanted to heal the relationship with my ex and why I feel so responsible for this person, even though they hurt me. And we literally went into hypnosis and I saw a vision where I was a little girl and I don't remember what age it was. I think like around 8 years old or something. And I was sleeping. And I remember at night, I suddenly heard like, Liz, like my mom yelling for me. So I woke up and I ran to the living room. And when I ran to the living room, like the lights were off and my mom was sitting on the floor and my dad was sitting in front of her. And she had been hit in the face. And I was like, and I looked at them and my dad looked at me. He's like, go back to your room, like go to sleep. And my mom was scared. And in that moment, my mom told me like, it's making me emotional. My mom told me like, don't go because she was scared. And in that moment, I decided like I went to sit next to her, even though I was scared myself. But I realized like in that moment, I decided like I took on the role of her protector. And ever since that moment, like it wasn't a childhood for me anymore. It was like I'm responsible for my mother and I'm responsible for my siblings, for my whole family. I need to protect them. I need to protect them against my father. And my father really started to like hate me from a young age and resent me because I was always protecting my mom. And like, for example, he would try these manipulation tactics on my siblings, like, oh, I'm going to buy donuts for you guys or whatever, like, so they would like him more, but it would never work on me because I could see through him and I was like, no, I'm going to stick with my mom no matter what. And yeah, that was just my whole childhood, like giving her advice, protecting her, like physically protecting her. And then like, once I became older, my whole focus was I need to provide and I need to make money to help my mom and to help my siblings. Like, that's my role. So then I remember when I was 12 years old, for example, I went and I was like, I bought these waffles in supermarket. And I was like, I have to decorate each waffle separately. And then I was going to sell them like door to door to people so that I could make money. And I was like, yeah, it's for a good cause. The good cause is me. So I was selling them, and I had made like a lot of money, you know, but I told like my parents I have like a nanny job or something. So then I was doing that job. And then once it was legal for me to work, which was like 15 turning 16, I did any job I could. Like literally, I was always working because I didn't want my mom to have to provide for me because she was already working a lot and my dad wasn't doing anything. So I didn't want to put like more pressure on her. So also my sister started working. Like the women in the family were all working. And we were providing for ourselves. And then we were like, my dad would make us pay for groceries and everything. Like he was doing nothing. So yeah, it was a lot of responsibility at a young age.
Yeah, it makes sense that you didn't taste what childhood is supposed to be. And then also at some point you had to leave your homeland and emigrate, right?
Yeah, that was actually like that. I was 1 year old.
It was early.
Oh, that was before. Yeah.
So all of what you told me was after the move.
Yeah.
So you moved very early. So you don't remember your home.
No. My mom does remember the war. My dad does. My older brother does. Yeah.
Okay. You ready for the journey?
Yes.
The first time I do it this way, well,
Okay.
There was so much to your story, Liz, that I usually don't even, like, I'll use this just for like five questions that I'll quote you and I'll see what you have to say about your quote, right?
Yeah.
Or what somebody's saying. But this time, like, I need to make sure we go to this journey correctly.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah.
I've lived many lives.
Okay. So is it true that your mother was cleaning toilets for $10 a week and that was your family's only source of food?
Yes, that was like when we had just immigrated and we're at the immigration center refugee camp.
Okay.
And there you could like do a job where you clean toilets, and she would make like $10 a week for that. And yeah, that was the money that we had. Which another thing happened, which was even crazier, because my oldest brother, he was disabled because of like the war. And because of that, we got government support that they gave like to refugees. And it was around $10,000 to $15,000. But like that was huge amount of money, especially like back in the day, you know.
Per month or per
No,
year?
that was like once you get that. I was like, because you need medical support and all these things. And basically my mom had found out that my dad had taken that money that was supposed to be for my brother, and he had sent it back home so his mom could build a house for herself after the war, destroyed her house so she could build a house again. So my mom said like that was the first time that I looked at that man and I was like, I genuinely hate this person. And I'm never going to forgive him again. Because like we couldn't even afford food or basic necessities. And you have like 3 children by that time. And he just didn't care. He just sent it all. So we didn't have money.
Why do you think you said you're 5?
Yeah.
Why do you think your mom kept having children?
I think society and like how our culture is raised. I think it's like, it's very normal and it's like what her mother has done and they didn't know any better. I mean, they also never had an example of any woman that does anything outside of the norm. So you're just going to do what everyone else is doing, you know? You create a family, the man tells you he wants a child, so you listen to the man, like he's abusing you, but you're still going to stay because that's all you have ever seen. And then it takes one person to break that cycle for it to never repeat again. Because now you have an example of how things can be different.
So, is it true that your father would invite friends over to humiliate your mother because she wanted a job?
Yes. He would, so the first years, he wouldn't allow her to work. But we would get like government support and he wouldn't give it to her either. Or like she had to beg for like $5 to buy bread, you know? And he basically liked the control that he had. And then whenever she was like, look, I really need a job, like I need to provide for my children, he would basically call his friends like, look at this dumbass, she wants a job, like blah, blah. Like he would just laugh at her.
It's quite twisted. Like, you don't have money. She wants to work, and he doesn't allow her to work.
I think he enjoyed seeing her suffer. And I think there is a lot of men, unfortunately, that enjoy seeing women suffer. It's not even about anything other than that. Like, they like that you're unhappy.
I think it's a very narcissistic trait and an egoistic trait.
Yeah.
You want the other person to be... Like, narcissists are masters at it. Slowly,
Yeah.
slowly, they control you. Or slowly, slowly, they make you insecure. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't like... blue jeans don't look good on you,
Yeah,
for example.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, really? It actually looks good, but
Yeah.
now he wants you to be insecure about because you're a good-looking person or whatever.
Yeah.
And slowly, your ears and...
Yeah.
And that's I'm talking about the subtle narcissist.
Yeah.
There is more aggressive.
Yeah. I wonder, because I used to always think, like, okay, does my dad fit into the archetype? But he was way more sadistic than that. I think narcissism is like one way, but then you have like actual sociopaths and that don't feel any type of empathy at all. But like on the flip side, outside, he was very loved and everyone, very charming man, like, oh, religious man. Like, everyone thought he was amazing. So that does fit in with the narcissist. But I heard somewhere that like sociopaths can have narcissism too. But not all narcissists are sociopaths. Correct. So like...
Yeah, I think narcissism is a spectrum.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have it, especially with selfies today. I think selfies make you more narcissistic, especially somebody who like their last 9 pictures on Instagram are all them alone. And I'm like, I know some people say, Anas, no, you're judging. I think if it's always just you, I think there's a level of narcissism there.
Yeah.
Now, is it normal narcissism or unhealthy or healthy? I think we can argue that from what I've seen, I think humans have a spectrum of narcissism.
Yeah.
And at some point, it becomes harmful to people.
Yeah.
Before that, maybe somebody's just in love with themselves or insecure.
I think that's a misconception about narcissism.
I was just going to say
that.
Yeah, I don't think they're in love with them. I think they're insecure.
Yeah, because that's a misconception, that because people think like, oh, people that are narcissistic are just in love with themselves or things like that, But actually, like, they're severely insecure individuals. And it is a mental illness. Like, they don't operate like how normal people operate. Like, they scheme and they plot things. And for example, how I've seen people diagnosed narcissism, I've seen, is they'll think like, okay, today I'm going to act like a good partner. Today I'm going to act like a good father. That's how they think. But everything is an act.
Wow.
So nothing is really because they want to do it. And also how exhausting it is to live like that. You have to constantly just perform, Like, for example, I had this instance with this person, and their grandma came to visit, for example. And when she came to visit, they were like, I want her, it's like their grandma, And then they're like, I want her to just take a hotel and not stay at my house. And I was like, are you insane? Like, let her stay at your house, at your grandma, And they were like, no, because then I have to constantly wear a mask. And I was like, damn, like, when can you ever be yourself? And when in your childhood did you learn that you have to perform for approval? Because that's what they're really doing. They don't think that they're good enough. They don't think that their authentic version will be accepted. So they will do anything so that they are liked. For example, if we look at my ex, the first year that we were together, that person didn't exist. He literally was everything I wanted in a man. Like, he was taking care of me. He was emotionally there for me. He, like, any time he wanted to spend with me, like, really like a love story, beautiful, But then I realized, like, this person just, because he was a fan of my content before, this person just studied me. And he mirrored every single thing that I was. So I fell in love with myself, but that was never him. And so after that, like, I realized when I was 4 months pregnant, I got cheated on. I was shocked because this person was like such a loyal person and never wanted to leave my side and blah, blah. So when I found that out, I have never been so shocked in my life about something. Like, it was a wake up, like, oh my God. And then I just realized, like, this person that I thought that he was never existed. So it was a whole reality collapse for me. And then I have to deal with like, okay, so who is this person? And I feel like, you know, when you go through a relationship like that, was the relationship ever consensual? I don't think so. Because I did not consent to get engaged to this person now, because I don't know them, you know? So you just played a whole character for someone. I think that's actually really insane.
For sure.
Yeah, I think I've never in my life been so shocked.
Because you are not like that, it sounds insane. You know, for anybody listening who's similar, they're like, maybe I don't, you know?
I'm literally doing that right now.
You know, I think, yeah, like on the topic of narcissism, I notice people who are very egoistic obviously have a higher level of narcissism, I would say. I think they go hand in hand to a certain degree. And I notice they take everything personally.
Yeah.
They don't accept criticism.
No.
And they don't take accountability.
Oh, no, that doesn't exist at all.
And there's no, let's agree to disagree. No, it's their opinion.
Yeah.
You know, so a person who is comfortable in their skin is one of the sexiest characteristics, I think. And they can be like, yeah, that's a good looking person. Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah.
There's no like envy or like, no, but they seem stupid. You're like, no, but they're funny. Like, why is it? It has nothing to do with you.
But that's the issue. Like, they constantly also compete with people in their head. Yeah. So I really believe that's also the reason why they struggle even more with themselves. Because how can you truly become successful or fall in love with yourself if you're constantly looking at other people, you know? In order to become successful, you need to focus on yourself, and you need to have like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve. Because if you're going to sit there and you're going to constantly look at, oh, what is this person doing, what is that person doing, then you are never pouring energy into yourself. You're just pouring all of your energy into these other people, and you're making them bigger. Meanwhile, you can pour all of that energy back into yourself, and you can just become who you want to be.
Yeah, but Liz, do you think they even understand what you're saying?
Maybe one day, inshallah.
Most I don't think so. And some of them are very successful because I think they're very successful on the outside, not on the inside.
Yeah, I mean,
on the inside, I don't know if they sleep well.
For me, success is like that you really feel fulfilled inside, you know?
I think it's nice to know that you are the same person. One of the best compliments I ever get, ever, like I love this compliment when someone meets me in real life, and they're like, you're the same.
Yeah.
And I love that because then I'm aligned.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not like a character here.
Yeah.
But then if you sit with me in a restaurant, I'm always on my phone, I'm not listening.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and like, you were like, you're such an attentive listener on the show.
Yeah.
But in real life, you don't even give a shit about what I'm saying. That's fake. Yeah. That's me playing a character. Mm-hmm. But sit with me in an Uber or I'm curious. You know, I'm like, oh, really? And I want to know. So when I get that compliment, I'm like, alhamdulillah, like I'm one.
Yeah.
Or as one as I could be, you know?
That's very important.
I think so. Mm-hmm. I hope so. Okay. Is it true that when your mother got a new job, she sold her jewelry to take you all out to celebrate at McDonald's? So you click pause. Why do you click pause? I hear this often that people that watch the show, they click pause when I ask a question because they ask it of themselves or their friends or their family, and then they have a conversation. So me and the team, we worked for over 2 years to do over 70 questions here with a die and some QR codes where I pop up. But the point was to take the conversation outside the white studio. You know, we're blessed to have these conversations, but what if we want these conversations to go to different homes and different friend groups and colleague groups and really have intimate, deep, strong conversations that maybe you've never had before? So that's why we created this game, and it's had very good feedback. People love it, and I hope you love it too. Try it out and let us know. The website is there. The link is in the caption. Enjoy it and let us know.
Yes. My mom used to, because she had like gold from back home still. Yeah. And she used to like, I remember when me and my sister, there was carnival at school where you like dress up and whatever. And me and my sister, we couldn't afford a costume, obviously. But my mom was so sad that we wouldn't be able to fit in with the other children. So that was the first time that she sold like her necklace or whatever, that we could like have an outfit. for the carnival, and like I was a butterfly, my sister was a frog. And then after that, like she was constantly applying for jobs, constantly, and then she would never get a job. But then she got one, and it was like at a factory where you pack boxes. It was a very heavy and logistical job. Like most men do that job. But then she got that job, and she was so happy. So then she still had some gold left. She sold it, and then we went to McDonald's and we celebrated. We were so happy. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Your mom is around?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a relationship with her?
Oh yeah, I'm like obsessed with my mother. Yeah.
Seems rightfully so.
Yeah.
When you were taking care of the house,
Mm-hmm.
I read that you were, mopping the floor, and because your mom was busy, you and your sister would do things in the house to take care of the house. And you said, I think, that your father would drop more water so you keep cleaning.
Yeah, so there was my father, he was very, very weird, okay? Like he had like these, power things he would do, like to show that he's in power, that he's in control, like very sadistic. So for example, my mom was always working at that point, so she wasn't really around for the abuse or anything. So me and my sister, we were at home, and we had to mop and clean the floor, whatever, so we did that. And my father, he just comes in, he looks at the floor, and he just puts the water again. It's like clean again. Just like for no reason, Or like another time where I was sitting in my living room, and I was sitting right here, I was packing my stuff for school. And he was sitting right here, and he had the remote in front of him. And every single time he would call us out of our room to hand him the remote, even though it was here. But it was just to show I'm powerful. So then one time I was sitting right there, like completely there, next to like a door that had glass. And my father was sitting here, the remote is here, and he goes like, give me the remote. And I said, 1 second, because I was packing something in my backpack for school. And because I said 1 second, he takes the remote and he throws it at my head. But I ducked. So because I ducked, it like broke the glass of the door. And so he beat me up because the glass door was broken. Because it was supposed to be my head and not the glass. Yeah.
Did you notice you laugh?
Yeah. Well, I laugh when I get uncomfortable.
I know.
Yeah. There was another thing that like he used to always do with me and my sister. And it was like, it was like he would literally, so he had a silver suitcase. And in our culture, honor killings are very normal, for women. Like, ever since I was young, I heard, we're going to kill you if you dishonor my reputation, blah, blah. Like, that was all I ever heard. So basically, my dad had this silver suitcase, and my sister and I remember I was like 8 years old. We were sitting in our room, and he came inside of the room with a silver suitcase. He opens it, and there's all like butcher knives. And he said to us, like, if you guys ever do something to dishonor me, this is the knives I will kill you guys with. And then we were like, okay. So then after that, like a couple years later, he would start this ritual where my sister, for example, pissed him off or did something. And he would take the silver suitcase and he would take out the knife, and he would basically, it was in the living room. My sister was on the couch, and he would like push the knife on like not with the sharp thing, but like the flat thing on her neck. And basically be like, you're gonna die. And I had to like for hours beg for her life. So I would sit there being like, don't kill her. Like literally I would cry so much, my eyes would be swollen. And we were children, So I would like be begging for her life, like, don't kill her. And then he would be like, you're gonna die. Like my sister's screaming. Then he would be like, call your mom right now and say your last goodbyes because you're dying tonight. And then like, it was like torture, psychological torture for like hours on end. And we believed that she was gonna die. And I was the only one that could save her out of that. So And then it was crazy because like we had a cat at the time. That was my first cat ever. And he was such a sweet cat, you know, would never put nails on you, would never touch you, nothing. But my dad, in the middle of doing his weird ritual where he was like trying to kill my sister, he stands up because it was time for prayer. So he stands up to pray in front. My sister's still on the couch and he's like, his praying mat is right here. He stands up to pray and he goes like down like this, you know? And suddenly at that moment when he goes down, the cat runs up and like scratches his face. And my cat had never touched anyone or scratched anyone. But I really believe that like cats are like spiritual protectors and they're very like, they energetically really protect you. And so when my cat did that to my dad, he was like, okay, stand up and go to your room. Because even he understood then that what he was doing was wrong.
It's good that you're not laughing anymore.
Yeah.
It's not allowed.
If I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. So I'd rather laugh.
If you want to cry, you cry. You don't want to cry, don't cry. But we don't need to cover it with laughter.
I think that's why, like, you know, me and my sister, we have a bond where we're very like this and like we're always protecting each other because it's a big, we went through all of that trauma together, and me and my other siblings as well. And we're all very protective of our mom because we saw her go through all of that abuse.
Yeah.
So like, even if my mom is like late 5 minutes from work, my brothers, everyone is calling, where are you? What's going on? We get really stressed because of what we had to witness as children. Yeah.
How's your nervous system?
I don't know.
Tired?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Stop.
We can sit here. Can sit. It's okay to sit. You're fine. What are you feeling?
I don't know, like uncomfortable.
Why?
I think like I have a lot of memories of my childhood, but then I like when I actually speak about it, those emotions come back up and I feel like I'm more comfortable running from them than confronting them.
I also believe, Liz, I don't know if you believe, but I believe people come into our lives at a certain time and a certain moment for a certain thing, whether good or bad, yeah? But I think I am sitting here in front of you so that you don't run away too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's stop. You need to start to stop, not sudden. I don't think it's possible sudden. I think I'm here as a handbrake.
Yeah.
For you to, you don't need to completely run away and not completely dive into it. Maybe that's too much for you at one time, but I'm your brake.
Yeah.
A little. Just to go from fourth gear to first, maybe. Or, so today we sit in it a bit. It's okay. Be uncomfortable. Okay. I'll ask you more.
Feels like therapy.
I'm not a therapist. Just a guy that asks questions and is curious. You said that your father would spit in your face?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Why would he?
Because one time my mom asked me to take $5 from his wallet because I needed to buy bread. And so he found out that I did that. So he beat me for it. And the spit in my face was actually like because I spent $2 extra on something that I needed to buy for him. So then he looked at the receipt and then he spit in my face. Yeah.
You know, when I was doing the research, I was curious if you're a liar.
Mm.
It's a normal thing because it's a dramatic life. And, you know, some people do things to be popular, negative attention, right?
Yeah.
Makes you popular. But the more I'm listening to you, I didn't even come with that judgment, by the way. I come very
No, it's okay.
as
I
neutral
get
as
it.
I can.
I get it.
But the more, I just wanted to give you this credit. The more I'm listening to you, the more I know how real it was.
Yeah.
And how raw. So thank you for being raw with me.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, I honestly wish it was a lie. I oftentimes think to myself, I wish I could wake up and everything was just a bad dream. But it's not.
If you could go back in time and change the family that you were born into, would you?
No, I wouldn't, because who would protect my mom? You know, it's like, even with like the money thing and me always like wanting a lot of money or trying to make money, like the only reason I ever wanted to do that was like to help my mom and my family. Like even when I started YouTube, and that was like the first big paycheck that I got from my YouTube ad revenue, I immediately sent everything to my mom. Ever since then, I started like giving her a monthly allowance. Then I had like a big brand deal with this sponsorship that I did, and all of that money I took and I immediately paid off her house, because otherwise she would have to, like, for the next 15 years work to pay it off. And it was like such a big stress on me that she would have to work constantly to pay that and all these things, that like I was so happy like I could do that for her. And like I'm really so, because I always, when I say like, oh, I love money so much, people like they think I'm like materialistic or like whatever, you know, they always see it like as the bad things. But money really changed my family's life, and I really took away a lot of their problems because of it. So for me, money has been a really big blessing, you know? And like even helping other people, like girls that message me that are in bad situations, like being able to help them and stuff, you know? Like I don't understand that people demonize money so much, when I really think that if you are a good person without money, you'll be a better person with money. But if you're a bad person without money, you'll be worse, you know, because you'll abuse that power. But yeah, I really think like it has been a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as if you're born into a poor family or a simple family financially, unfortunately, poor houses speak of money as an evil.
Yeah.
Rich houses speak of money as an asset or a resource.
Yeah.
They're more comfortable to talk about money at lunch.
Yeah.
Or in the living room.
Yeah.
I wasn't brought up to speak positively about money.
Yeah.
And then that builds a negative relationship and a perception to money. Money is the tool.
Yeah.
Something that my mother mentioned to us on her 60th birthday. She said, guys, don't buy me a gift. Buy me a memory. So, you know, it's like you taking your mom to Switzerland to, you know, enjoy nature for a week. You just use money to buy a memory.
Yeah.
Without that money, okay, if your mom is sick, who will take her to the hospital?
Yeah.
You know, if your baby needs Pampers, who's going to buy it? With
Yeah.
what?
Very true.
With coupon? What are you going to do? So we should stop attacking money. It is not even a person. It's not even a personality.
It doesn't even exist.
You know, it's a resource.
Yeah.
Use it for good or bad. Like you said, it matters who's the person who has that resource. I saw a video of your sister saying that she saw that your father was dragging you by the hair.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I don't know how many things am I supposed to think about.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I'm reminding you of these things, but I'm trying to paint a picture of
Yeah.
Liz to the people also.
Yeah. Yeah, he would do these things, drag me by the hair, like he would like, how do you say it? Like stamp me in the stamp me in the face with his foot. Like but he would abuse everyone. My brothers too, me too. I always thought like, you know, he was abused by his mother when he was young. Like his mom was very, very evil too. He had like a lot of scars on his head because of how much she used to beat him. And then he took that, and he basically, when my mom used to tell him like, why are you beating your children? What are you doing? He used to say like, well, I got beat too. So he felt justified in what he did.
He's repeating.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of people that are unhealed in their traumas, or they take their trauma and they felt like something unfair was done to me, they almost become jealous of their children. So they try to sabotage their childhood, or they try to like, you're going to experience what I had to experience, because why am I the only one that had to go through that? So then they traumatize their children. But I feel like you should look at it and be like, you want to give your child the childhood you never had. Like something beautiful, you know, you have a chance to even relive your own childhood with your child.
So, you're a very smart person.
Thank you.
You probably know that. I'm just telling you.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, you are very sharp. Like you see things from a certain angle. Like what you just said is the first time I heard it, and it makes a lot of sense how maybe a traumatized parent feels jealous of the children, of his children, if they're safe and not having as much trauma as they. I've never thought of it that way. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's fucked up, but like it makes sense.
Yeah.
You said seeing your disabled brother getting abused by your father was one of the most heartbreaking moments of your childhood. What happened?
These questions, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna rip them.
We can burn it together after.
Let's burn it.
Yeah. We attack them today, and then we can fucking burn all of them. Okay. Wallah, because now maybe they're hidden somewhere here.
Yeah.
Let's attack them. And we talk about them, and you release them, and then we burn all of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was another instance where my older brother has like, he has polio. He can still walk on his own and all these things, but like mentally, he's very smart still, but he's kind of childish. I would say he has autism, very similar to like autistic people. And he doesn't remember things as sharp and all these things, you know, like his brain isn't the best. But my dad basically went somewhere with my older brother, and he just suddenly, we were at home, we were in an apartment, and we hear someone in the street screaming, crying, like outside. And we all like go to the window and we're like, what's happening? Like people were looking outside. And then I see it's my brother, like my brother walking home crying. And like, then like we open the door, and my brother, like his shirt is ripped, he has like blood and all these things, and we're like what happened? And basically my dad in the car asked him to read Surah Al-Fatiha, and he couldn't read it well. He was like, he doesn't remember, and he was reading things wrong. So my dad beat him up for that. And yeah, he was standing at the door, and yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah.
And was he confused?
He was crying, and it breaks my heart because like when he cries, it's like he's screaming, crying. I just really don't understand how you can do that to someone. And I'm very happy that I don't understand. But like, the injustice that I saw with my siblings and with my mom, I didn't even care ever about myself. Like what he was doing to me, I didn't even care. But seeing that, like, that really made me very, very angry. And that's one of the reasons that I will never speak to my dad again. Never.
Is he alive?
Yes, unfortunately.
You don't forgive him?
No.
You think they say that, I don't have the answer. Do you think that if you don't forgive, you suffer?
No.
Do you believe that idea? You know, the idea that you need to forgive?
No, honestly, I feel like you don't need to forgive everyone. You can just leave them where they are. And that's it. Like, I don't need to think like, oh, like, we're all good now and whatever. Like, I can move on without ever... Like, if you die today, that's a good day for me, you know? That's really how I feel. Some people, I don't believe there's rehabilitation for them. I don't believe that they can be fixed. So, and I don't believe everyone deserves your forgiveness either. Like, I think this is such a glamorized idea. We should just forgive everyone and blah, blah. But I don't believe that's, like, justified. And I believe, like, some people that are a victim of that person, it's almost like you're pushing that on them. Like, you should forgive, you know? Oftentimes, even people, they tell me, like, oh, yeah, but he's your father. So he deserves to, like, you have to forgive him, and he didn't know any better, and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, that's not an excuse. Because if I today do the same thing to my child, for example, or if I go and I just abuse people and stuff, like, am I allowed forgiveness? Should I expect that from people? No. You know?
I agree.
Yeah, I just think they like glamorize it. Like, let's just forgive and forget.
It's easy to say.
It's very easy to say. It's like,
let me
you
see you do it.
been
Let me see somebody rape your child, and let's be cool with that.
Yeah, like, just forgive, you know?
No. I think certain things, it might sound harsh, I think certain types of humans are just too evil and too broken that they're just not good for this planet.
They're
like
not.
a pedophile. Am I supposed to be like, put him back into
like, I don't believe you can rehabilitate those people.
This guy is molesting or harassing or raping a child and destroying a whole future.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be like, yeah, I should forgive that he just raped 6 kids in a fucking nursery.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, how am I supposed to be okay?
But I feel like it's also people that haven't really experienced severe types of abuse that tell you should forgive. But, like, you go through it first, you know? Like, you go through it and you try. Like, there's also this thing with, like, do you know Gypsy Rose Blanchard? So basically, Gypsy Rose, she was, like, a victim of Munchausen by proxy. It's basically where, like, your parent, it was her mom in this case, she would make her ill. So she would, like, extract her teeth. She would, like, do all of these things and constantly go to the hospital with her. She would shave her head and pretend that she has chemo. And it's like this disease where they basically, like, keep you as a hostage and, like, abuse you and make you ill. But she basically took away her whole childhood. That girl didn't have a childhood. She never had, like, she always had her hair shaved, her teeth were gone. She was always doing, like, surgeries and always on this medication that she didn't need. She was a healthy child, but her mom was so mentally unwell that she did that to her. And then, unfortunately, she ended up, like, making her boyfriend stab her mom to death, which is horrible, you know, horrible thing to do. But what people don't understand, because a lot of people attack her for it, and they're like, you're a murderer, like, how dare you do that, all these things. But what people don't understand, when you live with an abusive parent, that is a danger to you. That is not your parent. Like, so many times, me and my brothers, when my dad used to travel, we used to pray that his plane would crash. Because if he was to die, then we were finally relieved of our suffering. And there was no other way out for us, because we weren't allowed to call the police. We weren't allowed to do anything. So it was either this guy is one day gonna kill us, or he has to, like, go, you know? Obviously, you shouldn't go and murder people. I don't agree with that. But can I understand, in a way, how she thought that was her only way out? Yes, I can understand her. Do I think it's right? No. But from an abused child's perspective that has gone through that, do I get it?
I didn't know about the story.
Yeah.
I noticed in your videos, you don't refer to him as dad, you refer to him as my mother's husband.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Is it a conscious thing or you just say it like that?
No, it's conscious. I don't think he's a dad. I mean, in order to be a father, it's not just because you had sex with someone, now you have a child. That doesn't make you a father. A father shows up, a father protects their children, father provides for his family. That's a real father. He's not a father. Like, he's just a sperm cell, to be honest. Yeah.
Husband.
Yeah. He couldn't even be a husband.
I read about a Mini Cooper story.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that one.
That was another thing where, like, basically, I used to, the last few years, which was like before I started my TikTok, actually, I worked in a restaurant. And so I was a really hard worker. I used to like go to school, wake up 6 a.m. I go to school until like 5 p.m. Then I changed clothes into like my bar outfit that I had at a restaurant. And then I would drive to my work and I would work there till like 1 a.m., something like that. And then every time I used to come from work, because sometimes I was late because I had to overwork, my dad would beat me up because I was late home. But the issue was, if I didn't want to stay later and I don't want to finish my job, my boss was going to fire me and I needed money. So I was like in between two. So I was like, okay, I'll accept the beating. At least I can keep my job, you know? But then it was like just at one point where I was like driving home. Again, so many missed calls. Where are you? Blah, blah. And I was driving home from work and he was standing at like the crossroads waiting for me to like beat me up again. So then he stepped into my car and he like starts yelling at me, like yelling all these things. And it's like, it's a small car. Like my head, something just snapped. And I literally started seeing like black in front of my eyes. And I just pressed on the gas pedal. And I was literally like, I'm going to crash us both into a tree. Like, because I literally thought like, at least my siblings can be like done with him. And like, I'm done with him. But then he got really scared. So he started like, let me out, let me out. And I couldn't see straight anymore. But this is what people don't understand. You push people to their limits, and then they do something and everyone looks at that person, they're like, why did they do that? But it's like they don't see all the things you did to them. They don't look at that, you know? They only look at your reaction once you react. So that's why like with abused children, it's very, very dangerous what these parents are doing. Like literally some of these abused children become abusers themselves, like huge abusers, you know, and they do the same thing to like generations onwards. So it really needs to stop. It's very, very dangerous.
And this is why I'm talking a lot about your childhood. So I hope you pardon me on that, because I'm sure people watching this, some of them are facing abuse or they've seen it, at least seen it. And I do think parents are creating monsters.
They are.
You know, when you see genocide in the world, when you see rape, when you see people with crazy, just killing people around the world, you're like, who kills children? Like, for example, you know? But you have to rewind and you would probably find out they created a monster somewhere in the childhood. You created a cycle. And it all starts at that foundation. And if, like you said, nobody's talking about it, nobody's bringing awareness to it, it's just going to keep doing this. Because I had a very respected guest on ABtalks. We have a series called Untold Stories for not the famous people, but normal people with great stories or crazy stories, right? And she talked about being sexually harassed at 9 years old by this guy, right? From their family. And the way people attacked her.
Oh, always.
I'm like,
always.
She's shocked. Of course, there are a lot of girls that reached out to her and they're like, thank you. You know, I'm sure you feel that, you get that. Thank you for speaking out. It made me stronger, it made me feel hope, da, 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 da. That side is great. Then there are the people that are like, shame on you. Why would you embarrass his family? Or and I'm
Yeah.
like, are you actually justifying and shaming the person who had so much courage
Yeah.
to speak in front of a fucking camera
Yeah.
about something that can affect her family, affect her reputation? It takes a lot. You need to respect and
Yeah.
admire that, because she didn't need to.
Yeah.
She can stay quiet and I can't say anything. But they shamed her so much about it, and I'm like, come on, guys, this is why people's abusers stay,
Yeah, of course.
because you're protecting them.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like, especially like in my culture and like in these type of cultures, it's like the shame is on you if you talk about it, because they are learned to like shut up and don't speak about their abuse, you know? And it's also so normalized. Like beating your children in our culture is so normalized. Like the fact that I even speak about this, are like, yeah, but that's normal. Like, you know, even men, they're like, yeah, my dad beat me and that's normal, you know? But it's like, why is this so normalized in our society? Because now we have people that become seriously mentally ill, or like you said, like they do the same thing to other people. And then if we look back, we can always trace it back to something that had happened in childhood, because I don't believe a child is born evil, you know? I do believe that some mental illnesses you have when you're born,
inherit, maybe,
probably, yeah. But a lot of it is also nurture and how you raise the child and all these things, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm like, especially in these type of cultures, they need to change this mindset. Like your child is not your punching bag. And especially like for the victims of this abuse, for these children, the shame is not with you. The shame is with your abuser. But oftentimes, even me, myself, I told my friend, I was like, you know, I feel really ashamed when I speak about these things, because I'm almost too vulnerable. And I feel like people can attack me there, you know? But then she told me, she was like, you know, Liz, like, even though you might feel ashamed, like you make a lot of other people in the same situation feel seen. And she said, and that's what you should do it for, and not for those people that are going to use it against you, manipulate you, whatever, you know? So, yeah. But I do put myself in like a dangerous situation where people that watch my content, let's say like a guy, he watches my content, he realizes, oh, she's been abused by her father, all these things, you know, they want to manipulate me. It's very easy to play into that, you know? So, yeah.
But you're getting smarter.
Yeah, and now I am. Life is teaching me.
You said, so many you said, then you
okay.
One more you said. My life started when my father cheated on my mother.
Yes.
What did you mean?
So when I was 19 years old, my dad, he was always cheating on my mom, but like he finally cheated really good and he got another wife, you know? And my mom figured out he had a second wife. And he basically wanted to keep my mom and have a second wife. But at that point, my mom was like, I'm done. Like, leave, you know? And yeah, finally, when he left, we were allowed to have freedom. So like, that was the first time I was allowed to travel, I was allowed to date. And like, it was like my life opened up all of a sudden from like no freedom. Now I have freedom.
So you left the house, all of you?
No, we didn't leave the house, but I was like, I started to travel. I started like dating people.
So
all
he
these
doesn't
things.
have control because he's in the other house.
He went to live in another country with his wife. So he started a new family.
Okay.
So it was like, wow, finally, like God heard our prayers. This guy is gone. Like even my brothers, everyone was very, very happy. Yeah.
How sad is it, huh? That you're happy that a father disappears rather than the opposite.
Yeah.
And usually a father disappears or a mother disappears. You're like, I miss them. I hope they're back.
Yeah, no, we had like the best. That was the best thing for us. It was very traumatizing as well because like, you know, imagine you never really had freedom and suddenly you get freedom.
Like a culture shock.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, wow, what do I do now? You know, my first thought was, okay, I can finally have a social media. Now I need to make money because I wasn't allowed to have social media before. So then I immediately started social media and all these things. Thank God, like everything went very well for me.
That's how you started The Wizard, Liz?
Yes, yes.
Why did you start it?
I started it because I wanted to make money. Like, honestly, that was the reason because my mom, like, I needed to pay off her house. I needed to help her with money. So I knew that you can make a lot of money with social media. That's why I started. But I always also wanted to help people. That has always been my goal. Like, I want to help people. I want to like make them believe in themselves more, to motivate them, all these things. And especially women, like, because I saw my mom struggle so much, and everyone in my culture, like, women are really seen as not worthy at all, honor killings, like women are not valued at all. So I really wanted to awaken women to their power and who they really are. And I really feel like if you are secure in yourself as a man, for example, you will not be threatened by a woman that is that wants to feel powerful, or that like wants to awaken other women, you know? Which is also, I have a lot of male followers that watch my content and they really like it. Like, they always come up to me, they're like, I love your content. But then you have like these other ones that obviously feel threatened, because if your only power comes from putting someone else down, then you're not powerful.
You're probably an emotional dictator.
Yeah, yeah.
You said I wanted to help women.
Yeah.
Who helped Liz?
I don't know. I feel like I help myself a lot.
Are you trying to be to women what you needed to be for you?
Yeah. You know, I always think about this. I was like, if I was younger and I had the wizard Liz, how much that would have helped me. I would have been my biggest fan. Like, I would have watched every video, everything. Because like seeing also someone talk about abuse and all these things so openly, I never saw that. And especially like, I feel like also in Muslim culture, it's so demonized, like, to talk about these things, because you have shame, you know, and like all these honor and all these things. So like seeing that, it would have broken a lot of stereotypes for me. And I feel like I would have been like, oh, I can accomplish that too.
The bigger question, is that actually Islamic, or is it culture that is dressed with religion?
I do think religion influences culture, you know? So there is like a little bit of both. But I do think that, for example, if you look at Islam itself, I think a lot of things are very beautiful in the religion. But I don't think that any religion or anything I can fully ever agree with. And I think also, if you are like truly an intelligent person, you can take criticism about anything. Like, for example, if you look at spirituality, like, I don't agree with everything there, but I like it, and I believe it. I think it's a beautiful way of life, you know? But I think these people that, for example, they take a religion and they say, I am this religion, and they are like a very religious person. They make that their character. Or you have someone that comes from a country, they're like the nationalist, and they make that their character. But it's like, who are you outside of those things? Or people that take their sexuality and they're like, I'm this is my character. It's like, who are you without those things?
And a lot of these things you didn't even choose. It's like somebody who's tall, who brags that he's tall. I'm like, you were born tall. It's not like you earned it. So even I feel sometimes there's a lot of, although I don't talk about religion in the show, but I'm talking now on a general scheme. I do believe there is religious racism where every religion thinks they're the chosen ones and everybody else is doomed. And I'm like, to each their own. If whatever you pray to makes you feel like a better person and you are a better person, good for you. I'm happy with mine. I hope you're happy with yours. I don't need to start to shame you or like, oh, you're a loser and I'm the winner. Why does it have to be? I never understood that.
I think that's the biggest ego, because I feel like people, they become like a lot of people, not all of them, they become religious and they're like, they have a bigger ego now. But it's like, your ego should get smaller the closer you are to God.
If you're truly spiritual, you like humans. You're a nice person. You like animals. You treat people well. You have good manners. You don't look down onto people like, oh, look at Liz, like, oh, she's always, like, why are you looking down? Like, who gave you that authority to judge? If we say only God can judge, now why are you judging?
But it's so funny, because like a lot of religions use that and they're like, oh, but I'm advising and I'm allowed to advise you. But it's like, no, you're judging.
That's entitlement. Like, how can I advise you? Because look, if we're going to talk about advising and judging, to do that, you automatically think I'm better. If I have to advise you on how to run a business, I think I know your business better. and you didn't maybe even ask me.
Yeah.
But if you're like, Anas, you have an agency, how can I do an agency? I'm
Yeah.
like, well, from my experience, this worked. I don't know if it's going to work for you, but it worked. You're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
But if I come to you with this high horse attitude, I already think I'm winning better than you, and I'm a better human than you. So that is against spirituality, against religiousness, because nobody has a guarantee. Nobody knows how do you seem to God. Are you a good person? Are you bad inside? You look out good on the society, but are you dirty in the inside? And we know a lot of examples. So yeah, this for me, I think my mother simplified it earlier in my life. She said, your religion is between you and your creator, and it's a vertical line. Yeah. It's this way. The channel is this way. Liz and up. Yeah. Your manners is this. Yeah. So I don't mind whatever you want to do. It's your choice. You know, there are people who pray to this. There are people who pray to this. There are people who believe this. It's your personal choice. Yeah. Why am I jumping? No, you don't go this way. It's your channel. Yeah. I care how you come here, how you treat me, how you treat people. Are you rude? Are you nice to me? Are you polite? Okay, that's what I care about. Yeah, that's what affects me. Yeah. But people don't, they need to intrude. Yeah, yeah. At one point, you said making money became an obsession for you. Yeah. I think you explained it. But there's something that I want to bring up because it was extremely strong. You said something about, I don't want to say it, I'd rather you say it. You said something about Band-Aids. Oh. Do you remember? It's a bit old. I thought, I think I said that in a podcast. Yeah, it was really nice. I can repeat it. Yeah. You said, I couldn't heal my family, but at least I could afford a Band-Aid over their wounds. Yeah. That was so well said. Why do you remember that? Why would you say that? Well, I think that was my reasoning. And I thought money's gonna fix at least something here, you know? And it did. It fixed a lot. It took away a lot of stress, a lot of problems. Obviously, money doesn't fix everything, you know? But at the end of the day, it was a tool that I could use to help my family. And yeah, I'm happy I did. How's your mom's mental health now? My mom is really good. She's a very positive person. So she goes through life being very positive. She's very much like me, actually. We're very much the same. People used to always call her a fairy, you know? But I do know that a lot of things have affected her with the war, and then my dad, and then everything she went through. I almost, I had this thing where she came to visit me in the United States, and I was making TikToks, and I was making videos, whatever. And I saw my mom, she was standing in the corner, and she was looking at me. And I felt a sadness from her, but not as in she feels bad or whatever, but it was a sadness of a life that she never got to live. Because she lived for her reputation and what she had to do, and she had to be the wife, and she never got out of that abusive cycle. And when I catched a glimpse of that, I really later I went to bed and I started crying, because I thought if there was a door I could walk out of, and they say, if you walk out of this door, you will not exist. I will not exist, but my mom gets to live the life that she wants. I would walk out of that door immediately. It really hurt me to know that she never got to live the life that she wanted. She never got to have the freedom that she wanted. And all because of what? Trying to be a good woman, trying to, so that other people will view you as a good woman, or that you endured things, or all these things, you know? What did you live for? For culture, for societal approval? How many women are in situations right now that are living like this, that are just staying and staying because they are scared of what their family will say. They're scared of what society will say about them. But at the end of the day, you're going to be old tomorrow, and you have lived your life for other people. That's the saddest way to live your life. Seriously.
I come from a culture, I told you this before, where it's like I'm not allowed on social media, you know? Like, it's very dangerous for my life. I get death threats all the time. And I literally, when I was starting out, my family was telling me, Liz, if you do this, you're gonna put us all in danger. And they're like, you have to stop. Like, you can't do social media, like, you have to stop. And I was doing my YouTube already then. And I literally told my siblings and my family, I was like, I will rather die than not live the life that I choose. And I meant that. I was willing to die for this. And I still am. I really this is for me not even about money anymore and all these things. I really feel like I have a purpose. And I really want to awaken people, because I feel like so much fear is instilled in people, and so much of their own power is going away. Meanwhile, they're not living. All of them are not living, and they don't even care to see what is really going on. So I really want to awaken people to realize hey, you can do this yourself. You can change your life once you believe in yourself, once you stop giving all of your power away to all of these other things. Like, how many, for example, women do we have? And she's her only goal in life is she has to get married and be a wife. What a sad way to live. Honestly, I think it's beautiful if that's what you want to do. But just to be a wife to someone, who are you as a woman? You're so powerful. You can accomplish anything you want and also still be a wife if that's what you want to be, you know? But I feel like so many cultures just appreciate you as a woman, or they put value on you when you are a wife of someone, or when you are a mother of someone. But you are literally a creator. And I don't even understand how in society we told women to submit to the creation. When does the creator submit to the creation? That's not normal. I think really, I'm really concerned with the way the world is. And I think everything is very backwards. And I think it's not even good for men, the way that the world is right now, you know? Because, for example, we raise men without any boundaries. A lot of cultures raise men without any boundaries. We say, the woman has the honor of the family. She needs to stay home. She can't go outside. You can't date. You can't do this, blah, blah. You have to protect the honor. Okay. So we raise these young girls to become very mature from a very young age. What happens is they become like mothers from a young age. They become very self-disciplined and very emotionally intelligent. Then you have these boys, you do whatever you want. They're not being raised. So they don't learn any skills. They just have no boundaries. They do whatever they want. So now you have women that are very mature at a young age, and you have men that are like children. And they're supposed to date and procreate. Relationships don't work. Because now you have a mother and child dynamic where the woman is oftentimes, again, having to reteach this boy still how to be a man. And it's really because of the parents. Because at the end of the day, they always say oh yeah, but he's a man, he's a boy, boys will be boys and whatever. It's no, you didn't teach your son boundaries. You didn't say, no, you can't just sleep around with everyone. No, you can't just go wherever you want. You also have a curfew, go home, all these things. You don't teach them boundaries. So they become older and they just don't care about anything. Mm-hmm. It's not good for them. They don't have skills. It's really not good for these men. And that's why the suicide rates for men are super high. Mm-hmm. A lot of things, you can see they're not happy even themselves.
We come back to creating monsters.
Yeah.
You create a monster. The factory of a monster is the house.
Yeah.
And you can have a toxic human that you leave on this planet and you die.
Yeah.
Or a good human. There's a lot of double standards. And yeah, it's funny because, look, if you listen to a typical conversation, mm-hmm. me and you are an event and we're standing not next to each other and we start to have conversations, right? The man, I'll get a question like, oh, what do you do? Oh, mm-hmm. That's fantastic. You do what you love. Okay, that's yeah. Let's take you. What do you do? Are you married?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, oh.
Yeah, you
well, I hope one day you get married.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's say you say, yes, I'm married.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you have children? You're like, no. I'm like, oh.
You're
So
not like,
suddenly your stock is going down in a most like small talk event.
yeah,
And the set of questions that get asked to a man are very different than the default set of questions that a woman gets asked.
yeah,
A man is judged on what position he does or what he does
yeah,
for a living,
yeah,
or which is fine.
yeah,
But then why are you tying a woman's worth or value or success?
mm-hmm.
She could be a greatest athlete. She's in the Olympics.
Yeah,
As soon as she says she doesn't have love or marriage, stock
that's a
goes down.
failure.
Okay, what if
Yeah.
she never found somebody good?
Yeah,
What if she
yeah,
doesn't like it?
yeah,
She doesn't like it. Then, okay, let's say she's married. And then you say, oh, but you don't have kids? She's like, no. And you're like,
yeah,
Now, what if she doesn't feel ready to be a parent? What if she doesn't like children? She doesn't
yeah,
like. She's one of those people that she's like, I don't want this headache.
yeah,
Why does everybody have to love to have kids? And why should I be now judged and assessed
yeah,
on being a mother? Okay, I don't want to be a mother.
Yeah.
You want me to be an abusive mother?
yeah,
Absent mother?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
But so the set of, you said the world is backwards.
Yeah.
I believe we're asking the wrong questions. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember once I said the question to a lady named Pia
Mm-hmm.
on this show years back. And after the interview, she's like, thank you for asking it the way you asked. I'm like, I didn't know. She's like, I'm like, what's your question? She goes, you said, you asked me, would you like to have children? I'm like, because me, it was natural. I
Yeah.
didn't think of it. She's like, you didn't say, do you have children?
Yeah.
Are you going to have children? You said,
Yeah.
would you like to have children?
Yeah.
And then I thought of my question. I'm like, oh yeah, that's nicer,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe somebody doesn't want.
Exactly.
Why am I like,
Yeah.
she doesn't want. Now I'm going to make you feel like, what if a woman can't have children?
Exactly.
Now I just reminded her, you can't,
Yeah.
by the way. And she doesn't need to tell me I can't have children. It's
Yeah.
very intrusive now to
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
So it's the wrong question. So let's say, again, I'll shut up after this. If we
No, I
say,
wanna hear.
somebody, we ask Sarah, are you married? She's like, yes, check, and I move on. The question is, are you happy?
Yeah.
What if, because I didn't ask the right question.
Yeah.
She just said, I'm married. I'm like, check.
Yeah,
But what if she's in the worst marriage?
Yeah.
That's the right question. Do you feel good in your job?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
Mm-hmm.
Not what do you do for a living? I stopped asking sometimes. I try. I'm like, what is something fun you're working on? Because if they don't go to work, maybe they don't like their job. And I'm reminding them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what is something fun in your life today? What are you passionate about? And if they say work, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
And if they don't say work, they didn't want to talk about work.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I talk about marriage, like, are you married? And what if they don't want?
Yeah.
But if I'm like, you have someone in your life? No, I'm like, okay. And if they say yes, I'm like, okay, I hope you guys are having a healthier relationship. Are you happy?
Yeah.
He makes you a better person. Those are the questions
Yeah.
that actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
I had
agree.
a beautiful guest who's a divorce lawyer, and he said,
Oh, I love him.
he's
I know
great.
that guy.
You have to watch the episode.
Yeah.
And he goes, the question is, why do you want? He's like, I want to get married. Why?
Yeah.
You ask girls today and guys, but maybe more girls, I would just want to find out. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Because I want to have kids. Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong answer. I want to get married to have kids, so I don't care about a good man or the healthiest compatible man. I want a means to a goal.
Yeah.
No, why do you want to get married? I want to settle down. I don't want to spend so much on my life. Okay, you'll have a rich guy, but what if he's a liar?
Yeah. True.
Okay, he's rich,
Yeah.
but he's giving you stress. You can't sleep well.
Horrible.
Wrong answers.
Yeah.
I want to get married because I would love to share my life and get better and level up. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're on to something.
Yeah.
You're ready.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
People are just like, it's like a hamster wheel.
I feel like, because it's like the humans love to control, So it's like they want you to act a certain way and you have to act like they all act. Because imagine that someone cannot be their authentic self and they put themselves in a box. And now they see you open that box and you just go be whoever you are. Then I'm going to feel like, wait a minute, I spent just 20 years in this box for you to just open yours. No, like get back in your box. So I'm going to shame you for your choices because they have to align with what I did.
So you can crawl back
we suffer
to the box.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's how that's really how a lot of people think.
I agree. Yeah, it wasn't over after your dad left. I read you had bulimia, anorexia, severe depression.
Yeah.
This is after he left.
Yeah.
Okay, how?
I really think like, because the thing that I had with my eating disorders, I was always very skinny growing up. Like I was actually bullied for looking anorexic. And then I tried to gain weight because I was bullied so much. But then like I gained weight, I thought I looked really good, but then my mom said that I was fat. So then but I was never really fat, but my mom said I was too big. So then I was like, oh, so now I should lose weight. So my whole life, I was actually really like listening to other people and just doing what they want and how they want me to be. So then I could like, oh, okay, then I'm going to be liked or then I'm going to fit in, But that specifically when I had bulimia and like my eating disorders after my dad left, it was more so because I think I couldn't deal with the emotions that came after realizing everything that had happened. Because now I had to deal with 19 years of abuse that had happened. And I wasn't ready to deal with that. And I think especially with the bulimia, with anorexia, where like I would go days without eating, or sometimes I wouldn't even drink anything either. And I thought like, this is going to lead to suicide. And I wasn't trying to be skinny. I was trying to die, like actually. So I was like, I even had days where my mom would like come into the room and she would check if I was still breathing because I hadn't left my room in like 2 days maybe. I just like, I remember like sometimes my heart would start like beating right before I went to bed. And I was like, yeah, tonight is the night. Because I felt like suicide would be bad because it wasn't allowed in the religion. So I thought this is an alternative. But I didn't die, so. Yeah. Now we don't have to do that again.
What shook you when you first remembered, like 2 minutes ago, when you first said, I was waiting to die? Your body shook for a moment. You remembered, I think.
Yeah, I think I just saw myself again, like in my bed, like how that felt. Yeah.
Do you recognize that, Liz?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel very sad when I think about my younger selves. I also think that, your inner children, they never leave you, so they stay with you.
You said children, not child.
Yeah, so like different types. Let's say you have different types of traumas and you remember at different ages. Those are all these children, different personalities. Because like the more you grow up, you always are a different person, So like Liz at 3 years old, Liz at 6 years old, that's not the same person. These are all different personalities. I think they never leave you. I think like that's why it's very important to like talk to yourself, talk to your inner children, because I think a lot of adults that are almost acting like crazy, or people say like they're possessed, like something's wrong with them, I think it's their inner children conflicting with each other. I actually had a story about this, but I don't know if I can tell it. But okay, so I went like on this spiritual journey.
In Peru?
Yes. And it was basically...
You went to Peru with the shamans?
Yeah, with the shamans and everything. And basically, my intention was to heal my trauma. And suddenly, I saw a vision. And it was my dad. And I heard a voice say, mourn the loss of your father. You never had a father. You had an abuser. So then I was like, damn. And then I heard another voice say, mourn the loss of your childhood. Like, accept that you'll never have a childhood again. And then suddenly what happened is I was like in third person, almost like my soul was here. I saw my body and I suddenly turned into my 3-year-old self. And like, it was such a crazy thing. So my 3-year-old self is in my body, doesn't speak English, only speaks my homeland's language. And like, I start crying, bawling my eyes out. And like, she's crying, and she keeps repeating like in the language of her hometown, like, Liz never got love when she was younger, so Liz doesn't need love anymore. And she keeps repeating that. And then I have like my hands are moving, and I'm not controlling this. My hand is moving over my head, and someone is consoling her. But it's so weird. And they go like, "You're safe now. You're safe now. Like it's not happening anymore. You're safe now." But it was my 3-year-old inner child that came up. And then after that, there was a 17-year-old that came up. She had her own other issues. She speaks different languages. But then I realized our inner children are really inside of us. Like, it's not like, oh, it's a metaphor, all these things. Like, I think these personalities stay stuck. And once you don't deal with them or you don't heal them, you start conflicting. And you become like an adult where you're lost. Like, how are you acting, you know? So it was a very interesting experience for me. And it was even crazier because like the next day, so basically it was like about my childhood and everything, you know? It was a very beautiful experience. But the next day I went to this cafe, and I was sitting there at the restaurant with my sister, and suddenly there's this lady in front of us, and she starts live singing. She was singing. And like the sun was setting behind her. It was like a movie scene. And I was like looking at her, and she starts singing like Adele, like I don't know the song, but it's like, I knew this would be the last time, whatever. And then like mom and dad and this 12-year-old girl come, and they start dancing in front of us. And she's singing like, I knew this would be the last time. And it was almost like a whole metaphor and sign of like, mourn the loss of your childhood.
And close it.
Yes. And that's how I was like, you know, we get so many signs every day when we live. Like, we just have to watch out for them. Even if like a person comes to you, they say something to you, and you're like, oh, damn. Like, where did that come from? Like, maybe he was sent to you as a sign, you know? Or you see these things, or you even hear something on the radio, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Good story.
Yeah.
When did it all change? You said blame gives your power away, responsibility gives it back.
Yeah.
So you just talked about this realization. You need to close certain chapters. You went through this bulimia, anorexia, depression, wanting to die. When did that happen? Is it slowly? Is it like a sudden realization?
I was honestly, this went on for quite a while until I realized, like, how about I'm gonna stop being a victim? Like, that's really like what I had in my head, like, snap out of it. Because I was like, why are you victimizing yourself? Why are you feeling sorry for yourself? Then I was like, you know, maybe I do have control over my life. Maybe I do have control over my body. And from that moment on, I just started slowly to like, I'm going to go on walks now, and I'm going to try to talk to God and like have conversations with God. Like, he's my best friend. And then I was like, I'm going to try to start eating healthy again, because for me, it was very important to break the cycle of my food addiction and the anorexia and whatever I had. Because if you can do that, if you can break an addiction, you can control anything. Like, it's very hard to win something over your mind. Like, if you can control your mind like that, you can do anything. So I knew that once I did that, I was on the right track. Because also, it takes a lot of energy. Addictions take a lot of energy. All of your energy goes there. Meanwhile, if you are a person with an addictive personality, if you put it into something that's beneficial for you, you can be extremely successful. It's just where you're going to direct your energy to. So then I decided, like, let me direct it into social media. Let me do things that I love more, and all these things. And that's when, honestly, everything started to flourish. Okay. When I decided I do not want to be a victim. Until this day, I don't want to be seen as a victim, because I feel like, just like, people are very comfortable, you know, in a victim mindset, because they feel like, oh, everyone feels sorry for me. And even some people will create situations where they are the victim, because then everyone can feel sorry for them. And that's how they receive love, or that's how they receive like, oh, everything will be fine, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, does that really accomplish anything? No. You're going to sit there, you're going to find more and more excuses as to why your life is bad and why you can't accomplish anything, and you won't accomplish anything. But for a lot of people, that is comfortable and that is what they want. But for me, no. Because I knew that the more I am a victim, the more I'm giving my power away.
Sorry.
If I, for example, say like, oh, I can't do this because my father abused me, then that means that my father had all the power, and he doesn't. I have all the power. Until this day, I have all the power. No matter what happens to me, I know that I have all the power. I can change the situation whenever I want, and I will change the situation whenever I want.
Is that you talking to yourself?
Maybe, but I really believe it.
Yeah, but sometimes we have to talk to ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
We need us to hear it.
Yeah.
So we say things we want somebody to say to us, you know?
It's also like, you know, with the situation that happened with my ex and all these things. It's funny because when you were talking about like how they ask you about marriage and then they say like, oh no, like you failed if you didn't have marriage, whatever. It's so crazy because with me, it was like, I've been on social media for 7 years now. I've been doing YouTube. I've been doing everything. Like I built this whole empire by myself. And then this guy comes in, he cheats on me. That's it. Everyone, yeah, she failed. She failed. Like terrible. We shouldn't listen to her advice. Look at her. It's like he cheated on her, so we should like cancel her, you know? It's so crazy that like this one guy, so irrelevant to be honest, like to the whole thing, you know, comes in and can just destroy that because people value a relationship more than they look at the whole person and everything, you know? So, but even in that situation, everyone was like, oh, you should have kept that private. And I could have never shared it online that he cheated. I could have never said anything about that. And people would till this day be like, oh, goals, you guys are so beautiful, blah, blah, you know? But and that's also like what most people do. Most of these couples, they forgive each other. They like just portray a nice image. And I get it. Because if you're truly honest on social media, they're gonna try to kill you. Like they don't want that. Like people say they want authenticity, they want that, but they don't. They want you to fit into the image that they have created for you. And you have to perform like that, like almost like a monkey, you know, like you do this.
I say people ask you, they tell you they love honesty until you're honest about them.
Exactly, exactly.
They don't like it.
Yeah, then it's like, this is too far.
It takes a lot. My therapist said something, and he said he says that he doesn't compliment so much, but he said, you're one of my few people that really can take anything I tell you. Like you don't get offended.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, because I don't. Like you can say, Anas, no, that's stupid. I'm like, oh, really? Tell me why. Like, because I respect him and I respect him. I don't get offended. I'm like, no, I'm open to it. So I can take, I think because I'm at peace with my ego, I think. I know I'm flawed.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell me, Anas, that looked really bad. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it did, you know. It's okay. I don't get it. Doesn't reduce my value.
Exactly.
I made a mistake, you know.
I think that's very important, like to be open to receiving criticism, all these things. But a lot of people are very stupid, I have to say. I think society in general, a lot of people are very stupid. That is what I find very annoying. But also because they're stupid because, I mean, not stupid
it's by design.
Yeah, but also it's because like, I think a lack of education, lack of traveling and meeting new cultures, that also make you whatever. And also it's like they have a bubble and they don't leave the bubble.
Yeah, and they don't want you to leave the bubble.
Yeah. So it's like if you only surround yourself with a certain type of people, you're going to think this is how life is. But you should, that's why I always encourage people to like travel, meet.
I just got such a stupid example.
What?
You know, like it's like a culture that now they all like matcha and we're like, I don't like matcha. You don't like matcha?
Yeah, how dare you?
I don't.
It's like a zombie apocalypse.
Like you're uncool.
Yeah.
I don't like it. You know, it's funny because all of us have to like it.
Yeah.
You don't like this show? Oh my God.
That's it. You're done.
I can't believe you don't like it. I don't like it.
But people are like,
you have to be comfortable saying you're different.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
That's why I really grew up wanting to always fit in. And then at some point I realized no one wants to take me. Like I can't fit in anywhere. So I thought like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm going to be my own person. And that's it.
And you'll fit with the right people then, yeah.
But even then I don't fit in. No one accepts me.
Really?
often, like, even like in the beginning of like my career, they said like I'm a closeted lesbian, you know? So I thought, oh, maybe I fit in here. I look at the comments, they say we don't claim her. I'm like, why? Why don't you claim me?
Yeah, but I would see that some people would want to be your friend.
No, I do think they want to be my friend, but I don't feel like there is any part that you can like, oh, she belongs here, you know? I don't really, even with like, when people ask me, oh, where are you from? All these things, I never really want to even speak about it because I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a person of the world, you know?
I think you belong nowhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's so beautiful.
Okay. Do you hate your father?
No. I don't hate him. I just don't care about him. I think he's so irrelevant.
Do you understand why he did what he did?
No. I don't get it. I can see like, okay, you had this childhood and blah, 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 all these things. But especially after having my own child, no. The fact that you would hurt a child, that you would beat a child, that you would beat disabled people, you're insane.
Did creating the wizard Liz heal Liz?
I do think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think like my younger self would really think I'm cool.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Would your younger self think you're cool?
I think, yeah.
That's good.
I think you think I'm fucking cool.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. And it's funny how you get shy when you compliment yourself.
Why?
I don't know, you tell me. And you're like, and then I'm like, you're
Maybe
like,
I'm just a shy girl.
I think you are. I
I
think
am
people
shy.
don't know that you are.
Yeah.
But if somebody compliments you in your face, I think
Yeah.
you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah, I'm better at like giving to other people, giving them
receiving.
compliments. Yeah. Like receiving, I'm a little awkward.
I could tell. What is one of the biggest misconceptions about the wizard Liz?
Honestly, it's like that I'm like that. The craziest thing I heard is that I was a relationship coach and that I like teach women how to date rich men, you know? Crazy. Like it just started when I got cheated on. All these people came online and she's like, she was a relationship coach and that's why she failed. And I was like, I was never a relationship coach, like at all. I just think like when people listen to me and like, for example, I say like, you know, your man should provide. I'm not saying he should be a rich man. Like if a man is an Uber driver, but he's coming home and he's helping you and the family, that's a provider, you know? Like if you have a rich man and he's not giving any money or he doesn't care about you guys, he's not rich to me. He's a broke guy, you know?
And he's not a provider.
Yeah, he's not a provider.
Rich, but not a provider.
Exactly. So like that is not what I mean. But people hear provider, they think, oh, he has to be rich. No, not at all. Like even all the guys that I've dated, I made more money than them. When I dated my ex before this one, in the beginning, like I didn't have money. And so he was like making good money, whatever. But then like 6 months into our relationship, my YouTube started, I started making like way more than him. But then also the relationship started shifting. I mean, we were together for a long time still.
Some
but
people
like,
don't want you to be better.
He wasn't comfortable. He told me that as well. He said like, look, like, I don't like this.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, he was honest.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Because like, for example...
Because some people won't be honest about that. They'll start jabbing at you and bringing you down. And you're like, why are you upset with me? And you don't really know why.
I feel like my next relationship was like that. It was like a constant competition. I've really found it difficult with dating men after becoming successful because it's like either they see you as their competition or they're a gold digger. Like I've never... Like, when, you know, when they say that women are gold diggers, no, like it's really men. Like, because they will like, because if you take care of a woman, for example, she will love you, like genuinely. Like you take care of her, she will be so happy, you know, she will give you so much more. But a man will like fake his love, everything just for money. Like genuinely.
You don't think a woman would do that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think she would genuinely love the guy.
I think it goes both ways.
You think so?
Some women also are very materialistic, and some men are very materialistic.
But
And
if
the
like
sad
I feel
thing
like
is,
if a woman is materialistic, don't you think she would still love him?
I don't know.
I
I
feel
think
like
some
they
women
would.
are in certain marriages just because the guy is filthy rich. They're probably
Oh yeah.
they're not even in love, or they don't love the guy.
But then I also think, look, in those type of relationships, yeah, it's transactional.
Yeah.
Don't you think the man also
He
doesn't
probably
care?
knows, yeah. They're both cheating,
So they're
probably.
both like the same.
Probably.
Yeah. Like they're both not looking for love, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
They're looking for money.
Yeah.
One knows that I can provide and this makes me feel powerful, and the other one feels stable.
Yeah. But I think every relationship is transactional, even the ones that are based on love. It's
even friendships.
Like, yeah, everything is transactional.
And we should not be shy to say that.
Yeah.
Everything. And I think we should be open about it.
Yeah.
Like you could say, this is my friend who I like to go shopping with.
Yeah.
This is my friend who makes me laugh when I'm feeling like shit. You know?
Or like, oh, you make me feel less lonely. Oh, you make me feel like this. Like everything is like a transaction, you know? And I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's just love and only love. Only love, you will not survive. You need loyalty. You need respect. Love will never be enough.
I agree.
Like, I really believe that someone can love you and they can also cheat on you. I believe this. Like, because there is people that are polygamous, for example, and they say like, but I really love the person, but I also sleep with other people. I do believe they love the person. I don't believe they're capable of being loyal, which for me, loyalty is more important. Loyalty is more important than love. I really, like, if I have someone, like, of course, love is like, it's a chemical, it's very beautiful, all these things, but oftentimes, like, love wears out. And it's not always, you're not crazy in love every day, you know? But I feel like if you have loyalty and like this person is gonna protect me, they're gonna be there for me, and they're gonna respect me, I feel like that is something that can be consistent.
You know what's interesting? There was a fan account that made a compilation video recently of me asking different females on the show, what does love mean to you, right?
Yeah.
It's a question I like to ask. And I think like it was maybe 8 women in the video. I think 6 said aman. Aman means safety.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I also
6
believe
out of 8 women said love is safety. I want to feel safe.
Yeah.
Her nervous system feels safe. She feels safe. He's reliable.
Yeah.
He's a backbone.
Yeah.
He provides. You know, I think that's very sexy when a man can provide, like you said, at any level. He's reliable.
Yeah.
He makes you feel like he has your back. I think women love that.
Yeah.
You know, makes your nervous system. You know, I said something in both languages before. I said, when a woman is truly in love, she feels like a little girl.
Yeah.
Like a princess. No matter how masculine of an energy she has outside, at home she's a little girl.
Yeah.
And the same goes for a man.
Yeah.
A man who feels truly in love, he feels like a little naughty boy at home. You know, he's pranking you or laughing with you, silly.
Yeah.
That's woman should understand that that's him really loving you. He's so comfortable, and vice versa. If a woman feels like she's spoiled next to you and like she's cuddly, you know, you should know that she feels good around you.
Yeah. I think
but
that
if she's
is
stern
safety.
and tough with you, and she's like trying to bash heads with you, there's something off. You don't make her feel safe, or she doesn't know how to. She's in the wrong dynamic, probably.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think especially like in my position where, like, you know, people try to cancel you and your reputation, all these things, the people around you should be very loyal because they have to protect you, you know? And like, I feel like in a previous relationship that I had, it was like my address gets leaked where I live. And like this person, they do it on accident. And like all my privacy is suddenly constantly being online. And you're allowing these people to attack me and like come closer to me on a personal level. And I feel like if you truly love me or you care about me, you would protect my privacy, you know? And I like that was the one thing that I really like looked for, and it was like, I just want to feel safe.
Who are you attracting, Liz?
I know, horrible. No,
we need
horrible.
To work on
I need to like stop. Just stop.
If we learn, you evolve. If you don't learn, like these people that keep repeating patterns, that's a problem.
I know.
I think it's okay to go through an affair and then learn. Like you got cheated on, you learn. You got through emotional abuse, you learn. But if you keep going to it, then you're not learning. Something is...
No, I feel like, but I only had like 2 really serious relationships, you know? And like my last one really opened my eyes. Like, and I feel like after that, now I'm gonna, but also I hate the fact that you constantly have to watch out for signs and, oh, he says this, oh, okay, I need to do this. And it's like, whoa, calm down. Like, when can we ever enjoy and, you know, all these things? Because now it's turning into all these mind games that you have to play. And who has time for that? I don't want to do that.
I definitely, I can't stand games.
Yeah.
I already know that I'm the wrong place if they're
games. Me
I don't
too.
have, like, I already have enough stress in my life.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I don't like, I even hate it when it's like, oh, don't text too fast. I'm like, just be straightforward. I don't have time for this.
There was a nice, if I find this meme, I'll send it to you about like, who has time for waiting to text? Like,
yeah, exactly. That's when like too much ego is involved. You know, because even after my like previous relationship, I still don't want to do all of that. Like, oh, I have to play mind games now. I have to be careful of this and that. Like, at the end of the day, if a person wants to cheat, if they want to do, they're going to do it anyways. You can't control that.
No.
The only thing you can control is your reaction. Will you deal with it or will you not deal with it? That's it. Yeah. So I don't want to control anyone. Do what you want to do.
On the polygamy point, I think it was an interesting point. And I do think sometimes both genders could be biologically polygamous.
Yeah.
Because they're based on desire.
Yeah.
So I just maybe I'll make a weird comparison, but I'll make it. It's kind of like your stomach, when it's hungry, it can eat anything. It can be junk food, junk food. It can eat chocolate, it can eat salmon, it can eat healthy. Technically, you can eat anything because you desire food, you're hungry.
Yeah.
Should you eat everything?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think women are a bit, of course, they're different wiring than men. Men are probably more simplistic in this. But do you jump on everything, or you say, I love this woman.
Yeah.
She's good to me. She loves my parents. She's been with me in thick and thin.
Yeah.
Does my desire want everything? Probably.
Yeah.
A creature in the end.
Yeah.
But do you go to it? That's the discipline,
yeah.
and that's the boundary you put. You don't go replying and messaging to every girl and you're committed to someone. So that's where I think people are not talking about the discipline of a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, because if it's just going to go over your feelings, when he upsets you, you're going to go message your ex.
Yeah, exactly.
Should you do that? No.
Yeah.
Because there's respect, there is, you will not, it's like, I'm thinking in Arabic, you should never, how do you say it in English?
Say it in Arabic.
يعني ما تهون عليك, يعني you're so dear to me that I would not accept it on you, even if I'm pissed off at you.
Yeah.
You're too dear for me to hurt you behind your back.
Yeah.
You're too dear. And if your girl is your lover and your best friend or your close friend and your partner, I think it makes it very hard to break that heart.
Yeah.
But if it's just the mother of my kids or my wife, I think it's the relationship is too thin.
Yeah.
You need a strong bond,
exactly.
You know?
But see, that's where loyalty comes in. Because I am like, when I'm in love, I'm like, that's it. I'm going to die with you. Like, I'm literally that kind of person.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, I love very hard. That's why, like, when these things happen, I'm very hurt. Because I was like, I would not do that to you, you know?
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
Not everybody's you.
Yeah, that's true. That's what, like, a therapist told me. She's like, you need to stop thinking that.
Yeah, because we judge things with our glasses, how we see the world. So when somebody does something we wouldn't, we're like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't hug or love dogs and you love dogs, you're like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's because you're looking at it from, you know? But that's only one perspective.
That's true.
Do you practice everything you preach?
Well, I've talked about a lot of things. So I don't know if, one thing with my previous relationship, after he cheated on me, like I immediately broke off our relationship. But then when I was pregnant, I thought to myself, okay, but my child still needs his father. And I would never take away a parent from their child, ever. Unless he's abusive, you know, whatever. So I thought in that moment, okay, so he cheated on me. But, you know, some men cheat on women, but they're good with the children. They're good fathers still, you know. So I thought, you know what? He really wanted to be a father. He was begging me, let me please be a father. Let me prove myself. So I was like, okay, fine. So then I was thinking, okay, so my cats were in the United States. Everything was already there. And then like, I was like, okay, where do I move to? Because if I move back to Dubai, it's 18-hour flight for him. He will not be able to be present for his child. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just move to the United States. My stuff is there anyways. I'm going to move there and whatever, we can co-parent for our child. But when I moved to the United States, I walked into a trap. And he just completely like, trapped me there. And he was like, I stayed so long there for my child. And I completely abandoned myself and everything I believed in for my child. And that's something I always used to think I would never do. But once you become a mother, there's nothing you wouldn't do for your child. So I was in a situation where I was paying for everything. This guy is just living in my house. I'm scared to kick him out because anytime I would say like, he would do anything, he would basically say like, I'm going to call ICE on you or I'm going to get you deported, you know? So I was scared if I get deported, I can't be with my child. So I was just like sticking around, mentally abusive in every way. And I was literally like, oh my God, like I'm literally repeating what my mother has done. I'm in the same situation right now. And I was like, what do I do? And I literally came to a point where I could see everything, but it was like I couldn't move. My body couldn't move anymore. So it's like my soul watching everything that's happening, but my body is just not cooperating anymore. And I was done. Also, I like gave birth. I'm postpartum. I'm working my ass off. I'm taking care of my child. Like it was just too much for me. And I remember that's actually, you know, I used to always say, nobody's coming to save you. That's what I used to always say. Because I felt like no one had ever saved me. I had to save myself, you know. But my sister, she actually came all the way from Belgium. She flew to the United States because my mom had came to visit and she saw the state that I was in. And she said, Sabina, you have to go. Like your sister's actually in trouble. And my sister came. And I remember that's the first time where I realized, somebody came to save me. And it was my sister. Because she looked at me and she told me, Liz, you're going to pack your stuff and you're going to leave. And she said, I don't care what you leave behind, but you're not going to live like this. And I told her, like, you don't understand. You're not a mother. You don't feel what I feel. You don't get it, blah, blah. And she said, Liz, our mom has already gone through this. She said, I will be damned if you go through this as well. And that was like, everything just switched for me. In that moment, I was like, I have to leave. If I stay any longer, I don't think I will survive. Like I was even developing like rashes all over my body from the immense stress I was in every day. But then obviously when I left the country, then my visa got denied. I thought I was going to go back in and I could like I had my own house by then. So we could do like 50-50 custody, but my visa got denied. So then he had been keeping the child from me because he thought like, if I abandon him, I'm abandoning my child. So it's like a package deal. If I want my child, I have to take him. But I don't want. So, yeah. But now I'm working with lawyers. So.
Yeah, I'm assuming there are a lot of rights in America for you to...
I mean, I am it should be really good. Like, let's see, it's like I already spent like $50,000 on lawyers, which is, I didn't get anything out of it. So I hate the fact of like just throwing money in the garbage bin, you know? You can donate that money, you can help people without, like, why do I do this? But like, now like there's another way that I could try, which obviously I'm going to do. I really love my child. So I want to be with my child, you know? But I do believe if a man is blackmailing you with your child, you shouldn't even fight for it. I really believe that.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, for example, when he is like constantly blackmailing me, right? when I show...
Don't fall for it.
Yeah, don't fall for any blackmail. If someone tells you like, oh, like if you don't listen to me, I'm going to leak your nudes. Oh, I'm going to do this. Do it. Because the only power these people have over you is that you are scared. That's it. Yeah. And that's the same thing with my dad. We were scared of him. That's the only power he had. Once, like, my brother even started growing up, and my brother does like a Thai box, and he started going head to head with my dad and trying to fight him. And he started getting scared. And you know what he told my mom then? He's like, yeah, I got a second wife because the children don't respect me anymore. No, the children are not scared of you anymore. And that's why it wasn't interesting for him anymore to even be there.
He combines fear with respect.
Yes.
And that's two different things.
Yes.
Respect is when you leave the house, how we talk about you.
Yeah.
That's respect.
Yeah.
If I'm afraid of you, as soon as you come, I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
Okay, leave, I have a party.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not respect.
Exactly.
Respect is, even on the weekend in high school, I could have a house party, but I'm like, I wouldn't want to disappoint my family. Not out of fear, out of love, out of respect. I don't want to disappoint my family. I would not do that, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, to your question, I feel like deciding to still go to the United States after he cheated on me was me not following my advice. But at the same time, because I never had a father and that was so damaging for me, I didn't want to do that to my child.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest price I ever paid was falling in love with someone. I've never paid a price this big.
You paid it, khalas.
Yeah.
You had a souvenir though.
Yeah, true. But I want to get my souvenir.
I think you will.
You know what's crazy? This is another thing. Women go through childbirth. Women go through everything. And this man can just keep the child. Like, I don't understand how, like, they can have, like, equal rights in that. I don't get it, because they don't go through anything. Like, I really believe if men could get pregnant and if men could, like, literally have children, they would be walking around on this planet acting like they're gods. I really believe that we would have to give offerings at their feet. I swear to God, they would act like they're gods. Like, men have really a lot of standards for women. And
some of them without this skill, they're already acting like gods.
Exactly. Already without that, they're literally like portraying themselves as gods.
Look, I'm not saying this to appeal to females. I truly believe this. There's no more powerful creature on this planet than a good woman.
Yeah. I really believe that too.
No more. I truly believe a woman makes the house right or wrong.
Yeah.
A house with no good woman has no soul.
Yeah, very true.
Everybody, the father can be there.
Yeah.
We're all there.
Yeah.
Let the woman leave. No soul. That beautiful glue that keeps us together is the woman.
Yeah.
And she makes the next generation.
Yeah.
Not the father I do believe are important, but not as important. How many great personalities have come out of great women, single, versus how many came from a single dad? I think I would bet, I don't have the statistic, but I would bet on a single mom, they would come out more successful usually. I think I'm a father of two, and I think I'm divorced. But I do think I'm important at a later stage more than at an early stage. Now they're my buddies, and we play football, and it's different.
Yeah.
But can I undermine how important my ex-wife is? Never. They're great boys mainly because of her.
Yeah.
100. Like, I was present, but my presence has nothing to do with the woman. Same as my mother. Without her. No.
I think that's so important. Like, if you have men that acknowledge that and don't like feel intimidated by it, like, and yeah, that's a big issue. I also feel like mothers are not appreciated in society because they don't appreciate themselves. Like, they just go through childbirth, and oh my God, my childbirth was traumatizing.
Really?
Like, I almost lost my life. Like, the doctor literally told me, because I had an emergency C-section, and he was like, do you have a will? Because, he was like, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't know you could die. Like, I thought this was all like rainbow and sunshine. And then I was like, damn, like, I need to quickly give my sister like the PIN code to my bank account because I might not come out of the room.
Wow.
So every woman that has like given birth, you stand between death and life, and they act like, oh, I ate breakfast. It's the same thing as eating breakfast. But if a man was doing that, oh, dear Lord, you would have parades every week for these men.
Why do you think so many women connect to you?
I honestly think it's because probably they went through the same things. And also, I think it's just refreshing to see someone bring up things that they might feel still ashamed about. Like, that's why I would love to see myself when I was younger, because I would be like, I'm so ashamed to talk about this, but she can do it, and she dares to say it. Like, for example, I had this speech in Oxford University.
Okay.
I don't think they're ever going to release it, but okay, anyways, I did this speech about, like, female empowerment. And after I was done, like, all of these women came to me and they said, you finally said what I never dared to say. What I just think, but I never dared to say it. And I think that, like, resonates with a lot of women. Because also, like, people think like, oh, I'm just a man hater, you know? No, I'm not a man hater. I don't care at all about men. I don't care about women. Honestly, I realize I hate everyone. I don't discriminate in my hate. I think, like, both genders have flaws, you know, like, whatever. But
I'll just correct something, and I might be wrong. I don't think you hate. I think you're disappointed.
I am disappointed. Yeah. But, you know, it's just like, because everyone thinks like, oh, if you're standing up for women, that means you like all women. But that's also not true, because a lot of women are the reason for a lot of women's misery. A lot of women get bullied by other women, or they lose their life because of another woman. And they need to be held accountable the same way you hold accountable a toxic man, for example, you know? So yeah, I just think, like, that's just society. Yeah, I just think after my situation with, like, the whole cheating and stuff, I started to, because before I was like, all women are good. And, like, that's it. But then I started to realize, like, damn, there's flaws in both genders. You know, there was, like, this Marina Abramovich. Do you know her? Okay, she's like this, she does art. She makes art, and she's, like, very special. I like her a lot. People think she's a witch and they hate her and whatever, but she also came from an abused childhood. So I understand her art. But maybe she's also a witch, who cares? Anyway,
exactly, yeah. It's her hobby.
Anyway,
she's flying on a boat.
That's what she does in her free time. I don't care. She had this art piece, and it's on YouTube. She was standing, and she basically had, like, roses, knife, whatever. You could take anything. And she said, like, you can do anything to me as you choose, to the public. And there were, like, men in the public and women. So people started drawing on her body. They started giving her a rose, giving her chocolate, whatever. And then, like, as time progressed, they started getting more aggressive and aggressive. People started, like, cutting her clothes. Men started touching her breast, whatever, all these things. She wouldn't move. And then they started getting, like, really aggressive. Like, someone cut her in the neck, like, really bad, all these things. But afterwards, she said, like, you know, I realized one thing. The men, they would come up and they would do whatever they wanted to me as time progressed. But she said, but the women were as bad, but they were hypocrite about it. Because they were in the men's ears and they would tell them what they should do to her. But they wouldn't go themselves. They would let the man do it. And I think, honestly, we live in a society where a lot of women are ruling. And I even believe we can even say, like, it could be a matriarchy. Because a lot of these men are in power, but you will also have women in their ear. And that's what people are not looking at, you know? And in a lot of, like, even families, the woman is ruling the household. But the man is just the one acting out, you know? So I think, like, you have to be careful of both genders, especially if you are a successful woman. You have to be very, very careful, because they're going to hit you at both angles.
This is an interesting conversation overall. This one we talked about. How did it feel being 4 months pregnant with the love of your life, as you thought?
Yeah.
Then you find out he's cheating.
I honestly, my whole world collapsed. But you know what's crazy?
Yeah, I read that you said that it was too good to be true, that there was always something in you feeling.
Exactly. I was gonna say that.
Okay.
So my intuition since the beginning was like screaming at me. Like I always was like, he's a cheater, he's a cheater. And I don't know why. I just had intuitively that feeling. And I used to always tell my sister, because she was also always around us. And I used to always tell, I think he's a cheater. But she was like, are you insane? She's like, he's always with you. Even if I told him, go to the United States, go be with your family, leave me alone, because he was annoying a little bit, too much. But he wouldn't leave. He would not go. So my sister was like, if he was cheating, he would want to go because he wants to do whatever,
Good point.
And then I was like, yeah, you're right. And she was like, Liz, like, you're self-sabotaging because of trauma and blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Like, he's not. But it wouldn't leave this nudge that I had. And I remember I kept telling him throughout our relationship, like, I would rather have you leave me than betray me. I said, if you ever have the feeling that you want to cheat or betray me, just leave me. Don't do that to me. But he heard that and he said, oh, yallah, that's exactly what I'm going to do to you. So he basically like went. And when I like, before that, I remember I was in Dubai and he went to Dallas for like 1 week or so after we had spent like 3 months together in Switzerland. I was in Dubai to like collect some last of my stuff. And I remember I was sleeping and suddenly I have a dream. And my dreams are very vivid. If I dream something, it happens. So I had a dream, and in that dream, he was with another girl. He was cheating on me. And I told him, like, what are you doing? And I told the girl, what are you guys doing? And then the girl looked at me and she was like confused. She's like, why are you upset? And then he was manipulating me in the dream to think that this was normal. And then I was like, what is going on? And then I remember I texted him and I FaceTimed him. I'm like, are you cheating on me? I had this dream. I was like, it's very weird, this and that. And he's like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. I was like, yeah, I don't know. And then what happened? For my birthday, we went to London. So we met up in London. And suddenly, like, I'm sleeping next to him. I get the same exact dream. But this time, I wake up from the dream with heartbreak. Like my heart felt broken, like it had actually happened. So I wake him up. I said, like, Landon, this is the second time I dreamt this. I said, are you cheating on me? I have the exact same dream. And he's like, no, you're crazy. Are you insane? And then like my sister was also there. My sister is always there. And I was like, so he's like, Sabina, he's like, your sister is insane. Your sister is crazy. Look what she's saying again. And I said to her, I had this dream twice now. I woke up with heartbreak. There's no way. And she said, Liz, don't, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. We went to walk and I was in a park with my sister. I said, Sabina, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. She said, Liz, okay, listen. Let's pray to God. Let's pray together, and we're going to ask God now to reveal the truth. I said, okay. So we prayed together. We said, God, please reveal the truth about these dreams. We said, don't just give us dreams, give us exact evidence. So then what happened, 3 days later, I leave to go to Belgium. I had to wait there before I went to the United States. I go to Belgium, I'm sitting. And this girl had messaged my friend. And she basically had like, I have some evidence about your fiance. She had found my friend who has like no followers, so she could reach me. And then I told Sabina this, but you know what was even crazier? I was going to bed a day before. And I was like researching for like my Oxford speech, all these things about like feminism, all these things. And suddenly, whilst I'm going to bed, this place really started hurting, which is like your third eye, intuition. Started really hurting. And I was thinking like, this is a sign. Like, this is weird. Why is this hurting? What am I going to find out? And then I went to sleep. I wake up from it, and a mosquito had bit me right here. Again, on my third eye. And I was like, something is about to happen. Like, something is very weird. Then what happens? I wake up the next day. I get those messages. My friend gets those messages. I told her, like, ask her what it is. And I told Sabina. Sabina said, oh, it's probably nothing, probably from something before. Because even then, we couldn't believe it. Because this guy, I swear, he needs to go to Hollywood. Like, give him an Oscar right now. The way he played himself, insane. I've never seen something like this. So then we're sitting in the car and, with time change, whatever. And the girl, she wakes up, whatever, she sends the messages that he sent. And he's saying like, yeah, are you in Dallas? He's trying to meet up with her, And he's telling her like, yeah, that this was just like an internet long distance relationship. Internet long distance, but I'm pregnant. Well, I was not aware, okay? But then like, basically, literally when I found that out, no, my heart dropped into my stomach. I was shocked. I started crying immediately. I was shocked. Shocked. I literally thought I was going to miscarry my child. Because like the 2 days after, I couldn't sleep. I didn't eat. Yeah, I was shocked. And then, yeah, I just confronted him. And he was like, I'm so sorry. Then afterwards, he told me he had been cheating on me since December. We got engaged in September. How is that even possible?
It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, that I needed that. I really needed that hurt because that just awakened something in me. Like the fire and passion that I had, it like awakened. And also I started caring less about everything. Because I cared like too much and I was like starting to get too shy even to speak or to do whatever. And he just, awakened me. And I'm like, actually, I'm very, very happy this happened. I needed this.
Really?
Yeah, I genuinely am. I needed this.
You need more hurt in your life?
No, I just needed this because it woke me up. It did something inside of me where I was like, oh, wow.
Do you still believe in love?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Yeah. I think I'm too delusional.
No. I know people who, like I could be very skeptical.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of trash relationships and miserable relationships. Not necessarily toxic, just not good ones. But I know some people with good marriages. Few.
Yeah.
But they're good, Liz. So do I say it's impossible? No. Do I say it's rare? Yes.
Yeah.
But because I don't want to say roommate kind of marriages.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to say like boring, miserable,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's too many of those. I mean healthy, like they laugh a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
They like each other.
That's nice.
And I like to talk about the word like more than love. Because I think like is more important than love, and I'll explain why. If I love you, I love you true. It's a big, big emotion.
Yeah.
And I'm devoted to you, but it's very conditional on our relationship. If we stop, I will stop loving you and I'll move on and blah.
Yeah.
But if I like you, I like you as a human.
Yeah.
I like you whether you're with me or not.
Yeah.
I like you. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, well, good for her. She started a business, good. Oh, she has kids. I'm so happy because I like you.
Yeah.
So I think we undermine how important it is to like the person you're with.
That's
not
very
just
true.
love them.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you should be like best friends.
It's so today in today's modern age, I don't think it works otherwise.
Yeah.
But
and that is also the most fun. Because you support each other, you grow together. That's really nice.
So I think it's good that you still have hope.
Yeah.
What does love mean to you today, after all that you've learned?
Honestly, love just means having fun together. Like, I really think like now in a relationship, I'm looking just to have fun and just enjoy life. Like, it's almost like I came so far, I accomplished so much. Like, I just want to enjoy life now, I don't want to keep going through lessons. Like, I just want to really start enjoying my life. And I feel like having a partner to do that with is a lot of fun, So I think that's what love is.
Has becoming a mother changed you?
Yes, a lot.
Okay.
I think it made me way more confident.
Really?
Yeah, like very, very, also very more like fierce. Because like the thing the instinct and the thing you feel over your child, it's like, don't play with me now, you know, like I may look nice, but I'm not that nice, you know. I still have my father's DNA in me when it comes to my child.
If you were to see your son tomorrow, what would you do?
Oh my God, I would be so happy. I would first close my doors, get security guards so no one steals him again. Yeah. Oh my God, stop. I would eat him. I love him so much.
When was the last time you saw him in front of you?
I think the 26th of April. So it's been almost 3 months now. Yeah, it's also not good for his brain, you know? Like, for me, this is so selfish to do because you and me don't work out, he shouldn't suffer. You know, I'm his mother. He needs his mother. It's an infant. But, you know, at the end of the day, I was thinking about it. Imagine that, like, I was not in his life anymore. And okay, I say when he's 12 years old, he can decide for himself where he wants to live. I was thinking, when I was younger, I was always thinking to myself, I hope, this is so crazy, but I was always thinking, I hope I'm adopted somewhere and these adoptive parents are rich.
Are rich?
And I was thinking, like, they're gonna ask for me back at any moment. So I'm thinking, like if I were to never see him until he's 12, he's gonna grow up like, you know, financially struggling, but then he realized I have a rich mother. So he's living my dream.
That's strange. A lot of shit repeats in your life, huh?
Yeah, actually. But anyways, I will get him. No way. I can keep it till 12. No way.
What's the biggest lie you were ever told as a child?
That's a good question. The biggest lie. I was told a lot of lies. The biggest lie that I was told was like, if I was to live the way that I wanted and freedom, that I was gonna get killed. Like that was what like everyone told me. Like, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die.
That's a big lie.
But yeah. You're like, damn.
That's a big one for a child. Yeah.
No, but that was always the case. But then, you know what I realized? Once you break a boundary that other people were afraid to break because they think you're gonna die, then you realize, oh wait, it wasn't that scary. And then these people also move there. So. That's why it's so important. Like, people, they think like, you know, if I want to make an impact, I need to make a big impact. I need to do worldwide. But you don't need to. You as a woman, for example, if you are living your best life, you just like choose yourself, you don't accept abuse, whatever, you are inspiring your little niece, you are inspiring even your little cousin, whatever. Like, all these people are looking at you, they're inspired, you know, by you just living your best life. So I feel like your what you create or whatever, people only think it's valuable when it's worldwide, but it's always valuable, even if it's in your own family, even if it's something so small, even if it's something that just makes you happy. Like, it's valuable.
That's true.
If you just wake up and you're happy to live your life, I think that's a good life. Whatever you do, if you are happy, like, you know what, overall, not every day, but overall, you're like, you know, my life is good. I'm happy I have this life. It's a good life.
صح.
Yeah.
If you could meet your mother when she was young, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to never get married.
But then you wouldn't exist.
I would still say that.
Yeah, you said you would even give your life for her to have a chance. Do you act confident or are you confident?
I honestly am confident, but look, it looks insecure even saying that.
No, It doesn't have to.
It's weird to say, yeah, I am confident.
I think I'm confident, but I think confidence also has departments.
Yeah.
Like I could be confident on a bicycle,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
put me on a skateboard, I'm not
Yeah,
so confident.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
confidence is like that.
I
could
think-
be a good public
yeah.
speaker, but maybe bad in something else.
Yeah. I think like my confidence was built through my own skills and through like accomplishing things for myself. So I think because of that, I'm very confident in what I have done and in who I have came out to be.
So,
I'm very proud of myself, you know? And I think like, yeah, in that way I am confident. But if you tell me tomorrow to like, yeah, drive a rocket ship, I don't know how to do that.
I wouldn't be on that rocket ship, for sure.
You would be right next to me.
What is an unforgivable action
An unforgivable action.
for you?
I honestly think betrayal.
I felt you're going to say betrayal.
Yeah.
It's one of your childhood wounds.
Yeah, maybe even a past life wound. I don't know. Like this betrayal since I was young, didn't like it.
How's your relationship with money today?
Good. I love money.
Okay, it's healthy?
Yeah, and money loves me.
I hope
We
so.
love each other. And just honestly, look, I did come to a point where I started going live with my sister, okay? And we have these lives where we basically say what men say, but the female version. Now, this is very controversial for social media.
Okay.
And I've had a lot of brands that are like, we don't want to like work with you, or we're going to have to put the brand deals on hold, which is like my main source of income. But you know, I was sitting and I was thinking like, I don't care. Like, I don't even care about the money anymore, because if I want to truly make an impact and if I truly want things to change, then I have to focus more on that than I focus on money, because at the end of the day, I'm good, you know, I'm stable, whatever. I have whatever I need. But I really believe opportunities will anyways come, because if it's written for you, it will come no matter what you do. If you're meant to have it, you will have it. There is no need to stress. But I just feel like money shouldn't be your only driving force if you're trying to create change in the world, because change is controversial and you're going to be scrutinized. And brands want to just protect their brands. You know, they don't care for your change.
And your relationship with food today, how was it?
Oh, yeah. I healed that already years ago.
Foodie?
No,
I
love
yet?
food. No, actually, I'm gaining weight. I'm gaining weight. I've been like eating more, so I gain weight.
But
because,
healthy, I hope.
Yeah, it's very healthy.
Okay.
Like ever since I diverted
One
that,
cheeseburger per week is no problem.
No, I every day I eat cheeseburgers
Okay,
now.
sorry.
I'm like,
Sorry, every day.
I'm actually trying to gain weight, like seriously.
Okay.
So I was like, but look, for example, when I had the eating disorders and my energy was going there, I wasn't like accomplishing anything.
Sorry.
But now when I like diverted the energy into my business, that's blooming. And I don't even care about like the food or whatever calories. I never look at it anymore. But everyone was also telling me like after the pregnancy, how are you so amazing? How are you so beautiful?
You see, here you go again. When you compliment yourself, you don't know how to sit in one place.
I have ADHD, okay?
No, you don't accept compliments.
No, it's because they were like, how what's your workout routine? And it just be with a crazy baby daddy, you will not gain weight.
Yeah. If you could delete one memory from your mind, what would you delete?
I think it would probably be like about my disabled brother, like coming home.
Yeah, that was when I asked you, it was hard on you.
Yeah, I
Although
just,
the other stories also were difficult.
you know, I just really always felt very protective about oppressed people. And like, I always used to look at my brother because his foot like is like sideways a little bit. And like when he walks, he like, how do you say that? He walk like
Yeah, like he has a limp.
Yeah, limp. So like, how can you hurt someone like that? Like if you hurt children, if you hurt like disabled people or like people that are oppressed, like that's so sad. You're evil. And to see that is very evil. It's not something like anyone wants to see.
No. If women could only learn one thing from you, what would you teach them?
I would tell them, focus on your career and work and money. Focus on that. Because I genuinely, a lot of women, they think like, okay, I'm just gonna go into a relationship with a man where he has money, he's gonna provide for me, whatever. But a lot of women are stuck in relationships like that, where they get abused and they have no financial freedom. If you're a woman in a world today, you need money. And anyone needs money. No one should rely on anyone, you know? Even a man, you shouldn't rely on a woman either. Like, if you look at my ex, for example, he went back to the old lifestyle he had after, like, I just left because I was like, I'm done with this. But imagine that, like, your lifestyle relies on someone else or their emotions. You're completely controlled by them. So instead of like pouring all of this energy into, like, again, I need to be a wife, I need to be a mother, this and that. Make sure you're stable first. Make sure that if anyone leaves your life, you still have yourself and you still have your resources. That's the most important thing. Like, I keep telling, like, if I didn't have money today, my situation would be so bad. So bad. Like, the reason I'm still laughing is because I have money. Like, truly. Because a lot of women, like, they get their children taken, can't even go to court. Can't afford it, you know? Like, so they have to give up their child. Now they don't have a place to live, you know? So it's really, the world will treat you unfair. You need stability. Stability is the most important thing. Money also gives you a lot of freedom. So they should focus on their careers, focus on your money. Like, it's very, very important. It's not everything, but have your stability. Very important.
What is the biggest mistake women make after a heartbreak?
Honestly, I feel like they just make it too much about the other person. And like, oh yeah, he hurt me, there's something wrong with me because he doesn't want me. But you have to ask yourself, do you even want him? Like, do you want a cheater? Do you want an abuser? No, you don't, you know? Realistically, you don't. But your ego is hurt right now. Because you think even this type of man doesn't want me? Like, that's what you think, you know? But it's like, you should realize, like, it was never about him or you or whatever. Even if women get cheated on, they think, oh, I was not good enough, I should change myself, and then he would want me. No, a cheater will cheat on anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, you know? So I think they should, instead of focusing on that, focus on yourself. Like, how do you want to love yourself more? How do you want to pour into yourself? How do you want to rebuild yourself? And once you pour the energy into yourself, you will become a person that doesn't even care about this person anymore. You will forget them. You'll be like, who is this? You know? And it's also so beautiful because people always think like, oh, you went through heartbreak, you failed. You got cheated on, you failed. But no, you just evolved. You went through struggle, you learned a lesson from it, right? So you take the lesson.
Some don't learn.
Yeah, okay, but you should learn. You take the lesson and then you move on. And now you are in a different reality where that person doesn't even exist anymore.
I'm in your domain now. Huh? What is something people because I know you talk about manifestation. What is something people misunderstand about manifestation?
Well, they think it's like woo-woo magic, like all these things, but it's not. It's like very simple. Like, I feel like manifestation is manipulation of energy. So wherever you direct your energy is what will come into your life. We could even say, like, I was so scared of betrayal my whole life
that you attracted it.
I might have attracted it, you know?
You attracted somebody who does it.
Yeah, because how powerful do you become if you face your fears? So if my biggest fear was getting betrayed, and now I had to face them, I became more powerful now. Like, I care even less. Like, I feel more confident after that happened, you know? So I feel like with manifestation, they think like it's writing 1,000 times someone's name and this and that. No, like that's crazy. I mean, you can also do that. Maybe that also works, you know, I don't know. But I feel like it's more how you position your mind, what you think about on a daily basis, what you engage with, who you allow around you. Because a lot of people allow all these people that don't have good intentions with them, or like they belittle them, they make them feel smaller. Well, that's who you are going to be. Because that's what they're pouring into you and you're accepting it. Meanwhile, you can say, you know, this is not what I deserve. I deserve better. And then your reality changes.
What would you tell a woman who knows she should leave, but she still loves him?
Well, you know, sometimes people give the advice of stay until you hate the person. I think this works if he's not abusive, because some women can like lose their life over this, you know? So if you want to stay until you absolutely hate the person, that's on you, you know? But if he's genuinely abusive, I would say, like, ask yourself, is this truly love? Or have you deprived yourself of love so much that you will accept breadcrumbs?
Wallah, social media clips. They fly. Okay. Yeah, this is an interesting question. Would you rather lose all your memories or the ability to make new ones?
I would maybe rather lose all my memories.
Okay. How many people do you think would be happy with your death?
When I die. I mean, I think a small amount. I think a lot of people would be sad. But honestly, I don't think anyone should be sad, because I don't think Earth is our home. I think, like, we have a body, we rent this body, but we have a soul. And I think, like, our soul goes back home. And I think it's beautiful there. I mean, it doesn't mean that you should, like, now go, you know, I'm not encouraging that. But I think when it's your time to come, I think it's so beautiful. And I really, I think, like, death is going back home. Yeah.
Okay. عطني ال ABtalks card game. We'll do one from the card game. Thanks. How's your energy?
Good.
Okay, good. Mix, please.
You're gonna read tarot for me now.
I'll give you this after. You're gonna enjoy this a lot. It's a nice game. Okay.
Okay, here.
So I'll ask you one, and then you throw this, and this is how to answer.
Okay.
Okay, so choose first. Which one should I ask you? Tell me which one.
This one.
Wait, this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Oof. Okay. I'll ask, you throw.
Okay.
Who do you miss right this minute?
Okay.
Be open.
My sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I miss her so much. She's in Dallas.
Okay.
She's with my baby.
So she has a visa?
Huh? So yeah, she can go in.
How come you don't have a visa?
Because it's like, I was once sent away at the LAX airport, and normally you get an ESTA. Like, you can go in and out. And because I was sent away once, ever since I couldn't get the ESTA anymore. And now if I want to apply for the ESTA or like the B2 visa, then they need to show that I don't have immigration intent. But because I have a child, obviously, they will not give it to me. So.
Okay. Tell me, Liz, are you scared?
No. I used to be very scared. When I was younger, very scared. I grew up with so much fear inside of me. And then I remember one time my mom brought me to this psychic guy, and he was doing tarot readings. And I was very young. And he told me, you know, he said, if you let go of the fear that you have, you will become extremely successful. And he said, I don't even want to say how successful, because I want to be realistic. But he says, you will be extremely successful. And I never understood what he meant until now I get it. Yeah.
How old were you?
13. I didn't even know what he meant. I thought I didn't have fears, but I was so scared of everything.
So you're not scared now?
No. I feel like it's getting better and better and better.
If, strangely, your father is outside this door when we're done.
Oh no, I was so scared.
What would you tell him?
To leave me alone.
You're still scared of him?
I wouldn't want to see him. I think he's frightening. Even if I show you a picture, you'll say that's a scary person. You can tell there's something wrong with him in the energy.
So you wouldn't tell him anything?
No. Just to leave me alone. leave me alone. That's all I have.
Did he try to get in touch with you?
Yeah, he always threatened to kill me when I did my social media. He was gonna kill me. His friends were sending me death threats.
What's the best memory of your life so far?
The best memory was when I gave birth to my child.
Oh, it was a good
Yeah.
one?
Oh, yeah. I was shocked. Like, I couldn't believe it. Because you know how they say, like, when you are a father, you realize, like, oh my God, there's a child. Like, you're shocked.
Yes.
But I had that. I was like, what? Like, how did this just come out of my stomach? Like, what was this? I was shocked. It was like an alien. But then I was like, oh my God. It was so hard, but at the same time, you just see one smile. Like, oh my God, that's it. I'm done. This is worth it. Anything you want, you get. My sister was like, she was showing me on FaceTime. He was like doing something with his toys, and he was like drumming sound. And I was like, okay, done. We're investing in a drumming career, whatever you want. Yeah.
You go girly when you think of your child.
Yeah. Oh, I love my child so much. Yeah.
If, God forbid, you didn't live long, you didn't get to live long, what would be so important for you that your son would remember about his mother?
It would be that I was a powerful woman and that I was a fighter. Because I think it would inspire him and remind him of his strength. Yeah. And that he would understand that women are powerful. You know, even the reason that I left when I did was because I didn't want my son to grow up and think it's okay to treat women like this. Or I didn't want him to grow up and think that women will stay if you treat them like this. Because a lot of parents, what they do is they stay together for the children, they're abusing each other, but then the children grow up to stay together for the children. You're creating cycles of abuse, you know? So you have to set an example that this is not how you treat women, and a woman will leave if you do this.
Is he a good-looking boy?
He's so handsome. I will show you pictures.
Please.
He's so handsome.
That's good.
MashaAllah, very handsome.
Yeah, mashallah.
Looks like me, of course.
Well, I hope at least your ex is a good father, you said, so.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's a child raising a child. I feel like it's immaturity, you know? Like, I think a truly good father, like he claims to be, you know the child belongs with his mother, you know?
Yes.
You have to be responsible. So, but other than that, yeah.
If I could take Liz's heart with everything you told me today, with the good and the bad and the trauma and the scared girl before and better now, and I take the heart and I place it outside, what would your heart tell you?
Probably that I'm tired. I think my heart is also so tired. Like, give me a break. Yeah. I think like when you constantly have to be strong and you constantly have to go through things and then it gets better, then another thing, it's exhausting.
Do you think you're addicted to the chaos and the drama?
No, but I do think that I thrive in it. I think I thrive best in survival mode because that's all I've known. So once a situation repeats where again I have to survive, I'm the best at it.
That's why I said I thank him for that.
Yeah, because it awakened me again.
But then does that mean if I bring Liz and she finds love and she settles down, or without love, you just settle down and you're calm and there's no drama, no intensity, would you need that again to revive you?
I don't think so. I think like if I just want a fun relationship. I just want to have fun. I want to laugh and stuff, you know, like that's also good for me. I don't need to have drama, all these things.
Because some people say what they want, but they don't really want it.
Yeah.
Subconsciously,
They keep
don't.
attracting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because my relationship before was very calm.
Okay.
Very, very calm, and it lasted a long time, but then it ended horrible.
Why? How did it end?
No, you don't. I don't want to say.
We said everything already.
This one I cannot say.
Okay,
It was not good.
Okay. From your side or from his side?
And on his side. Okay. But let's just say we fought.
Elbow?
Very bad.
Really? Have you been in touch after?
He reached out, but no. We it's also like when you change, when you move on from someone, you just never see them again. Because he used to live 5 minutes from me. Never I saw him again.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like they don't exist in your reality anymore.
Okay, in the simulation, they don't exist.
Like they get removed.
Last question before I say a few things. Liz, in one word.
I think strong.
Strong. You believe this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you are. So what I wanted to say is, at the beginning of the interview, you said, I'm numb. I think you're the opposite of numb. I think you're so sensitive that it freaks you out.
Yeah.
But you like to say that you're numb because it's like a bandage or a cover, right? And I want to say that don't be afraid to feel. Like it's a beautiful thing about you. You have feelings. You can still feel life. You can still feel pain. You can still laugh. You can still feel joy. It's quite a blessing that you can still feel.
Yeah.
So don't say that you're numb.
Okay.
Not allowed anymore.
Okay.
Oh,
that makes a lot of sense, actually.
And the other thing I was thinking about, one thing I was thinking about is that I think you will see your son.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Psychic prediction?
I don't know. I'm not a psychic. It's just a feeling. I think you're a very determined woman.
Yeah.
And I think you could be a really good mom.
Yeah. I literally want to be, Like the reason I only had the child at the time that I did was because I was like, okay, I have savings, I have everything, like stability. Now I want my child, I've always, like I told you, I was like a mother to my mother. Like the mother role, it's perfect for me,
It's familiar.
Yeah. People just think that, to be a mother, you only have to be a mother and this and that. No, they're still their own person. I still want to work. I want to have a relationship. I want to be happy as well, But I am also a mother and I want to take care of my child. So, and yeah, that makes me very happy. But he said to me that if I come to Canada, so I'm actually might go to Canada, that if I come to Canada, I can see my son there for a week. Then I have to prove there that I'm a good mother. Yeah. And then he said, then he will think about it if it makes sense for him to move to Dubai.
I think, look, any man also, especially if you're still, I don't want to call him immature, I don't know him.
Yeah.
But a man who is still maybe growing and leveling up or maturing, it is a burden to take care of a baby.
Yeah, no, he is burdened.
He'll feel it. Yeah. And then the moment he knows, she can relieve me of this duty and I can be a part-time father.
Yeah.
Naturally, if there's no ego attached, he should want you to take care of the child because his son will be healthier.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a great mom. And he gets to see him part-time, which is convenient for somebody who's not ready to be a full-time father.
I had even offered him $300,000. I said, I'm going to buy my child, give him. He said, I will give him for 1 year and then I will take him again. I said, no deal. So then I offered him 2 days ago. I said, 150, give him for 1 year. I just want him for 1 year. He said no. So I don't know what he wants. Because he wants child support from me. So you want money, but then when I offer you money, you also say no. So you just want to make me miserable.
You think so?
Yeah, just wants to make me miserable. Even though he needs money. Like, this is the situation. He needs money, like, you know?
I hope you figured it out.
Yeah.
Or figure it out.
Now it's gonna go just through courts.
And the last thing that's on my mind before I let you run away is...
I'm already going.
is you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can see how tired you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay too. Not tired face.
No, thank you so much.
No, I don't mean your face.
Okay,
Not
it's
at
okay.
all. I know because women get offended if I say you look tired. I don't say you look tired.
Yeah, I know.
I think you're so... Like, especially when you first came.
Yeah.
I could tell how, like, you're in fight mode.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to know that with certain people, maybe less than 5 in
Yeah.
your life, you should let go a bit. Because
Yeah.
some people will protect you and they will defend you and they'll fight for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you.
Yeah. It's okay to be tired.
Yeah.
You're still strong tired. You know?
I'm a warrior while tired.
Warriors get tired too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
So before you run away, I need you for a few minutes. It's been 8 years on the show, and we're working on something very cool with the team, but we need your help, your opinion. We need to get to know you better to do this really cool thing. So the link is in the description. I hope you take your time, answer it, and I'll see you soon.